Hello, and how you doing? And welcome back to Two Jagoffs. I am Austin Carnes, joined here with
Lucas Kins.
And welcome back to Two Jagoffs, and welcome to our NFL Draft Recap Special. Today, me and Lucas are going to go through every single NFL team, talk about the players that were drafted this past weekend, and give them a letter grade on how they did overall, and kind of oversee and look ahead and see how they're going to do going into next year. But before we get into the NFL side of things, we actually have some breaking news coming out of the NHL. There's a lot going on right now with both the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA Finals playoffs being played right now. And I kind of wanted to wait a little bit and see more results before we went back and covered it. But this piece of news, specifically coming out of the Steel City, has to be talked about since it has been covered extensively ever since this podcast began. So, without a further ado, let's start off with the breaking news coming here in Pittsburgh. But before we get into that, Lucas, my good friend, unfortunately, my dad couldn't make it with us today. It was supposed to be the three of us. He got stuck helping out the family, trying to get power back on.
Well, yeah,
Bad storm.
I feel like we should talk about that first.
Go ahead. Tell him.
Pittsburgh had a complete, I don't even know what to call it, hurricane type weather yesterday.
More like tornado. It was 90 to 95 per hour winds. No tornado touchdown, but almost tornado level winds.
Yeah, at my house, it hit 80 mile per hour winds. The rain was insane. A tree Austin, put a picture of the tree in my neighbor's backyard on the screen right now, please.
Oh my gosh. There it is.
That basically summarizes what happened in Pittsburgh yesterday. That was a perfectly healthy tree, by the way, before the storm.
That is a big tree.
That is a big tree. The rain was literally going sideways at my house. I don't know if you looked here, but it was literally going like that. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Shingles were blowing off of roofs. Carnegie, where we are right now, not where I am, not where I live, but where we're at now, roofs fell off of buildings, telephone poles came down on a car. Maybe you shouldn't have parked there. Park better next time, buddy.
God, you're so mean.
No, I'm kidding. Somewhat. Town wires everywhere, transformers blown out. Pretty much every school in the area just didn't go today because every road is blocked. Nowhere has power. I don't even know if I'm going to school tomorrow yet or not. I haven't figured that out.
I was supposed to give a speech earlier this week too, and that got canceled. So I just don't know, man. Well, I will say this: my thoughts.
What if I wasn't done yet?
Well, this is a little more important. You're about to say. My thoughts and prayers go out to everybody and anybody that was affected by these storms. Hopefully, we can get power back soon. Hopefully, we can build back stronger. Hate seeing stuff like this, but that's what brings communities stronger together. So go ahead, finish your point, Lucas.
All I was going to say is the power being out is actually the only reason I'm here today. I was actually supposed to be at a job interview about an hour ago, and I probably was going to miss today, but I'm here now because got moved to Saturday.
It was supposed to be the three of us. Then it was supposed to just be me and my dad, and
now it's just me and you.
Now it's just me and you. So
the one guy that wasn't supposed to be here is here, and the one guy that was definitely supposed to be here is not here.
Exactly, and then I'm always here.
But don't worry, he'll come on next week and say, "Oh, Lucas is skipping. You're skipping."
Yeah, this is 1 week I can confidently say, "Dad, you're skipping."
Yeah.
You want to know who's else going to be skipping? Mike Sullivan. Let's take
skipping right out of this town.
Let's take that tree off the screen real quick and put our good friend Mike Sullivan up on the screen because it is now time we talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. For the last 3 years, I have been hooting, hollering, protesting, proclaiming, whatever word you want to use that's in the dictionary, that Mike Sullivan needs to be fired from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I will be the first to say, and I've been waiting a very long time for this address here on Two Jagoffs, Mike Sullivan is an incredible head coach. Mike Sullivan is a brilliant, hockey-minded individual. Mike Sullivan knows how to coach a team and is still deserving of being a head coach on the national level. He coached Team USA for a reason. He coached Team USA in the Four Nations battle for a reason. He was with the Pens for so long and won 2 Stanley Cups for a reason. That right there is because of Mike Sullivan. Mike Sullivan has made Hall of Famers stronger, helped Crosby, Letang, and Malkin reach levels that they have never seen before. Mike Sullivan is an amazing head coach. But the simple story is this: 3 consecutive years of missing the playoffs with those guys. 3 years prior to that, also being eliminated in the first round to Metro rival teams. Under a 500 record with superstar after superstar rostered. Defensive pairings being an issue for 4 years. Goalies being an issue ever since Matt Murray was last a part of this team. There are so many question marks. Late third period blown leads. There are so many different things we can go to with why it was best to cut ties with Mike Sullivan. But the bottom line is this: the Pittsburgh Penguins needed a fresh beginning. Teams, especially rivals, have gotten younger, quicker, faster, and more advanced. Look at the Hurricanes and Devils. They were both in the playoffs for a reason. Devils obviously now eliminated, but the Hurricanes and Devils, both Metro teams, stronger and better. Look at the Rangers and Islanders. Look at the Blue Jackets even. Look at the Capitals, what they're doing right now, one of the Cup favorites. There is so much going on in the Metro. So many more teams are more advanced, and it's because coaching has improved and player development has improved. And Mike Sullivan is stuck in the past, and it was time for the Pittsburgh Penguins to move on. They made the right decision. I believe he could be a great head coach later on down the line with another team. I know the Rangers, they're a team a lot of people have been rumoring. Wherever he goes, I wish him nothing but the best. Thank you, Mike Sullivan. I know a lot of people were expecting me to celebrate this. I'm not going to do that. Yes, I called for the man's job. At the end of the day, this is a man that's losing his income. I hate to see that kind of stuff. I hope he goes somewhere and he does find another job, and he definitely will because of how great of a coach he is. But here in Pittsburgh, it was not happening anymore. It was a relationship broken beyond repaired, and it was the right move at the right time and the right call by Penguins management. So thank you, Mike Sullivan, for all you did. I would be happy with promoting David Quinn. Another guy that I have an eye on, I said this on Steel City, Lucas, I like David Carl, head coach of the University of Denver. This is a guy right here that knows the next level of hockey, that can bring in the next generation and help build guys around a Crosby. I wouldn't mind the Penguins targeting a guy like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried at all about him finding another job. He's going to get hired somewhere. A couple people have been debating whether he's going to be a head coach again or not. I think he deserves to be. I think there's teams that could definitely use his advice and his coaching. But it just depends where he's going to land and where he wants to go, I guess. Because I feel like he's going to have multiple offers. I think he's going to actually get to pick and choose where he lands next. Good luck to him. Thanks for all you done for us. But your time here was done. It was stale. It was just the same thing year after year. It was barely missing it or barely making it. So changes got made. I'm happy with it, and I'm excited to see who becomes our new head coach.
I am too. The hunt begins for the next Penguins head coach. We'll be covering that all throughout the summer and next fall. With that all being said, though, let's move into the NFL side of things. That's going to pretty much take us to the end of the episode today because we're going to go through all 32 NFL teams, and we are going to give them a draft grade. We're going to talk about some of the moves we liked, some of the moves we didn't like. Some of the teams will go by pretty quickly. Some of the teams we may be on for a little bit longer than others, and I believe the team that we're going to be on the longest is going to be the team that starts things off. We're going to go through and do the AFC North first, and I feel like it's only fitting we do the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers had 7 picks this year in the draft. In the first round, they drafted Derek Harmon, defensive lineman out of Oregon, Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa, Jack Sawyer, edge out of Ohio State, Yaha Black, defensive lineman out of Iowa, Will Howard, quarterback out of Ohio State, Carson Bruner, linebacker out of Washington, and Dante Kent, cornerback out of Central Michigan. One first round pick, 1 round 3, 1 round 4, 1 round 5, 1 round 6, 2 round 7s, no second round picks. Lucas, I'm going to go to you on this one first. How do you feel about the Steelers draft this year?
I actually liked it. We have a lot to work on, but one of the positions that we didn't really solve in free agency was our defensive line. Especially having some players that were a little interesting on the defensive line and some players that are probably going to be retiring within the next year or two. So I was pretty happy with drafting to fix up our team. We didn't really work on offense that much, which I'm not completely disappointed because we've been doing that for the last couple of years. We've been targeting some more offensive players. I just kind of wish that we got more than just one, or I guess 2 technically offensive players. One's probably not going to see the field yet, being Will Howard. I feel like he'll probably be the backup over Rudolph, to be honest. I don't think that we're going to shove a rookie right in, which I usually would agree with that. It just, see how he plays in preseason, I guess. And then running back, Johnson, I'm actually happy about it. I know you're not, but I actually don't mind it. I've been seeing more and more clips and highlights of him play recently, and I think he'll fit in with this offense. I think that he'll get some good yards for us. Still wish we didn't get rid of Najee so we didn't have to take a running back in round 3. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
This was a pretty mediocre draft from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was expecting better. They filled the biggest hole they needed, which was defensive linemen. I've talked about it on Steel City. I talked about it when I was invited to the We Are Family podcast. I don't know if you saw or not, Lucas. I actually got to make a brief Zoom appearance on their StreamYard that they were having with Peyton, Nate, and Jake. Shout out to those guys. And I told him flat out that if a quarterback is there, you need to take it. If not, defensive lineman is the next position on the board. But with the dramatic fall of Shedeur Sanders, who is certainly going to be a topic once we get to the Browns here in a second, I was a little disappointed. You can even hear me on the phone, Lucas. I was very upset. I was laughing hysterically because I was like, how do you pass on a quarterback? Well, I can't have that same motive anymore because everybody passed on the quarterback multiple times. Now, we'll get to Shedeur when we get to Shedeur, but in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you look at Derek Harmon overall, he is a terrific player. He played at the University of Oregon. He's going to add a lot. This can be a day one starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is exactly what they need, especially with Cam Hayward on his last couple of years. So this is a guy right here that could be that next leader for their defense, and I'm glad we get to see him play with Cam Hayward for at least a year or two to maybe get that veteran experience. So you know what? Round one, I believe that was a great pick. This is where things start to get dropped off. I'm not mad at the Caleb Johnson pick in terms of getting a running back in the second round. I'm mad over the decision of taking him over a Cam Skattebo. Cam Skattebo, running back out of Arizona State, is a guy that can be dual threat. Cam Skattebo is the guy that can take checkdowns. You can throw him in the slot, and he can be a power-heavy back. Caleb Johnson is a power-heavy back as well. Don't get me wrong. He's going to help in that aspect because the argument me and you, Lucas, had on Steel City was that the Steelers' running back room is mediocre in terms of they don't have a running back that could play all four downs. Jalen Warren is a third down back. Kenneth Gainwell is a third down back. They don't have a guy that can play all four downs. Caleb Johnson can play all four downs. But why would you take a Caleb Johnson when you have a dual threat guy in Cam Skattebo who is more mobile, bigger, stronger, faster, more agile, and has more success? Caleb Johnson was a part of the second worst offense in the Big Ten last year. How could I trust that with my team? No wonder why Caleb Johnson's numbers are as crazy as they are. No wonder why he has a highlight reel like none other. It's because the team he was on struggled to get in the end zone. So he's going from the second worst offense in the Big Ten to arguably one of the worst offenses in the NFL, in the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's number one. And number two, the fact that Caleb Johnson is going to be the so-called replacement for Najee Harris makes me sick. Najee Harris signed with the Chargers for practically nothing. Steelers could have got him back. I know it was a broken relationship there too. They weren't going to do it. But seeing that this is the best they could get after losing Najee Harris, wasting a first-round pick on him, makes me sick to my stomach. So I'm not a fan of the Caleb Johnson pick at all. I believe this was a waste of a pick. He'll be lucky to be there by the end of his rookie contract. Jack Sawyer, edge of Ohio State. I'm telling you right now, Lucas, this man right here racks up penalties like Halloween candy. Look at the first time around against Oregon. Look at the game against Michigan. He had 2 unsportsmanlikes in that game. I'm surprised he didn't get ejected. Jack Sawyer is a great player. Great player. He's definitely going to be crucial for this defense. But having him come in and out for a TJ Watt and an Alex Highsmith, that's the last guy I want to have on the field to risk giving up a penalty on a third down. Because we know Watt and Highsmith like to rotate coming in third and fourth downs depending on the play to get that extra rest. Well, if Jack Sawyer is going to be the rotation guy, and he jumps off sides, or he puts his hand up and grabs the face mask, guess what? You're giving him a free first down right there. That's a risk I don't know if the Steelers should be willing to take. He's a great player. Let's see what he does, but my goodness, he needs to improve. The rest of this draft is simply depth. Black is going to be depth. Not a bad pick, but I'm not going to get excited over a backup. Same thing with Will Howard. He's a backup at best. For those saying that he can develop into a starting job, what has he shown that he can? He's a dual threat quarterback. That's awesome. A lot of people say they remind him of Josh Allen. That's great and all. But outside of the national championship success, what has he really done? Look at the numbers of Kansas State. Look at the numbers of Ohio State. Then Carson Bruner, I mean, he's a decent player as well, but he's going to be depth backup at best. And Dante Kent, I actually don't mind that pick at all. I think he's going to be pretty solid on the punt return. He's going to be pretty solid for your special teams. But overall, I can't give this draft any higher than a C, Lucas. I wanted to give you guys a B-, but there is nothing that convinces me that this draft is better than the Ravens, better than the Browns, or better than the Bengals. It's a C at best.
Yeah, I actually went down a little bit since last time I spoke to you about it. I give it a B+ now, but I'm still pretty high up there. The only reason I went down is just looking at other teams' draft boards. They had better drafts. I still like our draft. I still don't think it's that low. I think that the worst grade I'd give any of our picks is like a C+ or like a C- maybe, or just C. I really don't think any of these picks were that bad. So,
agree to disagree. We could probably go at back and forth with the end of time on it, but I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are budging on our draft grades.
Not at all. So I feel like we move into the team that had one of the most interesting drafts. Fellow Pittsburgh Steelers rival, the Cleveland Browns. Now, Lucas, I don't know if you know this or not. The Cleveland Browns have been talked about in the media like crazy, and it's because They also had 7 picks, but 2 out of those 7 picks were quarterbacks. First round, they got Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan, Carson Swissander, linebacker of UCLA, Christian Judkins, running back of Ohio State, Harold Fanion Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green, Dylan Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon, Dylan Sampson, running back out of Tennessee, and then last but not least, the man himself, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. Lucas, let's talk about Shedeur first. Why did he fall so low?
Not sports-wise, his dad's an idiot. And Sanders has an ego higher than anyone I've ever seen going into a draft before. People have had pretty big egos. Caleb Williams last year had a massive ego. Abdul Carter this year had a pretty big ego too. But did you hear what Sanders said? He said that he was purposely tanking his draft stock to certain teams if he didn't want to go there. Why would you ever say that?
Really?
Why would you ever say that? Supposedly that's what he was doing to teams that he didn't want to go to.
Wow.
If you're getting drafted, you go where you go. I don't agree with, you heard what people were saying about him. Worst interview they've ever had with a player. So, I thought he was going to go undrafted, to be honest. Once it was after the 5th round, I was like, he might be a free agent. Overall, for the Cleveland, though, it's hard for me to rate them. They took 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks. The running backs is more reasonable, I guess, if you're not bringing back, I'm blanking on the name now.
What, Chubb?
Yeah, Chubb. If you're not bringing back Chubb, I guess it makes sense. But why do you take 2 quarterbacks? I don't understand taking 2 quarterbacks in this draft. So I'm going to give him Mason Graham's a beast. And I like Carson, whatever that last name is.
Swissander.
Yeah. And I don't mind them taking a tight end, but besides that, I'm just confused all over the board.
I'm not as confused. So what are you giving him?
Oh.
Grade, I'm sorry.
Something between maybe a B-, maybe? A C+, B-, somewhere in there.
See, I'm a little more lenient with them. I'm actually giving them a B+. And the reason why I'm giving them a B+ is they filled practically every hole they needed to. Honestly, the Shedeur pick is what takes it away from being an A, in my opinion. The Mason Graham pick is a total steal because going into this draft, Lucas, the one thing me and you were debating was whether or not they should draft Abdul Carter. Obviously, we saw how that turned out with the Jags trading up and switching with the Browns to get Travis Hunter, and then Abdul Carter fell to 3 to the New York Giants. Mason Graham was the second best defensive player on the board, and we both talked about how great he was last week and how Michigan produced one of the greatest players out there that's going to be underrated for the years to come. So the Browns still buffed up that defensive line with the first-round pick, which is something they needed to do, especially if you're signing Myles Garrett to that long-term contract. Good luck getting someone in free agency with you paying Myles Garrett all that money.
And they also absolutely fleeced Jacksonville for that trade-up.
Oh, yes, they did. They fleeced them. So that's a bonus right there. Swissander is going to be great for their defense as well. They lost a couple of players in free agency. He's going to buff out their defense as well. Judkins and Sampson, they're both going to be competing for running back slots because, again, Nick Chubb, the question marks are still there on whether or not he's going to return. It seems like he's probably not if you're already post-draft and he doesn't have a contract. So, yeah.
And you drafted 2 running backs.
Yeah, so beef up that running back room. I'm not mad with them taking 2 running backs at all. This was great. Both of them were great running backs. They were both high on my draft board, especially Judkins. Very happy with it. Fannin Jr. makes sense for depth. Now we get to the quarterbacks, Gabriel and Sanders. I was a little surprised that Gabriel honestly went that high. A lot of people had Gabriel fall in the round 5 and 6. He was taken in round 3, and the Browns were excited to draft him. They believe that's their guy, and if they believe that's their guy, why not go after him and get him? But Shedeur Sanders, it seemed like the owner stepped in and said, hey, you got to take this kid now or else. It didn't seem like the Browns really wanted him. They're just kind of drafting him. If it works out, great, and if it doesn't, they can cut him for a low-value price since he was only a 5th-round pick. My biggest question, though, is how is the quarterback situation going to pan out going into the season? Because as of right now, the Cleveland Browns have 5 quarterbacks rostered. Technically, they only have 4. I hate how people say it's 5. Let's be honest. Deshaun Watson's never starting a game again for the Cleveland Browns. Let's just pretend like he's not even there. Realistically, it's Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. And if you really want to break it down further, Kenny Pickett is the emergency backup guy. The Browns have always had an emergency backup quarterback. We saw P.J. Walker one year, we saw Bailey Zappi one year, and we saw Dorian Thompson-Robinson one year. Kenny Pickett is just next year's DTR. That's pretty much why he's on this team. Joe Flacco is most likely going to be the starter week 1. You took him to the playoffs 2 years ago. Yes, you regressed last year with the Colts, but that's still a guy you can trust. Gabriel and Sanders are really going to be the two competing. That's the competition we got to keep an eye out for. Don't worry about Flacco and Pickett. Look at Sanders and Gabriel. And I believe Gabriel's probably going to win it. Not because he's the better quarterback. I believe Sanders is. Sanders was the second best in my eyes in this entire draft. But because the Browns trust Gabriel more. The Browns wanted him more. Kevin Stefanski wanted him more. Management wanted him more. I feel bad for Shedeur. He's a great kid. Has a great talent. Played great at Colorado. Let's not forget he took 94 sacks over the last 2 years. We can't put the full blame on Shedeur Sanders for some of his offensive struggles. That offensive line did an awful job at protecting him. He's going to a team that actually has a solid offensive line now. Let's see him cook in the NFL. I wish him nothing but the best. But Lucas, I'm so glad you said Dion. Dion certainly hurt his draft.
Do we think we're ever going to see a year where the Browns have less than 4 quarterbacks on their active roster?
Probably not. I don't know what
like
they're going to
most teams have like 2, maybe 3, but the Browns seems to have like 4 or 5 every single season.
And guess what? They use about all 4 or 5 of them every year.
Because of how bad they usually are.
Yeah. They're cursed, man. I'll give them a B+ though, because outside the whole quarterback controversy, this is actually a really solid draft for the Browns. You got to give them credit where credit is due. Now talking about the Bengals, we'll go through some of these picks pretty quickly. In the first round, they got Jamar Stewart, edge out of Texas A&M. Demetrius Knight, linebacker out of South Carolina. Dylan Fairchild, inside offensive lineman out of Georgia. Barrett Carter, linebacker out of Clemson. Jalen Rivers, inside offensive lineman from Miami. And Taj Brooks, running back from Texas Tech. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give this one just a solid B-. I believe this was a good draft for the Bengals. They definitely got that solid edge they needed because with Trey Hendrickson possibly being on the way out the door, this is a guy that could easily be the starting edge for them. And if Hendrickson decides to work out and stick with the Cincinnati Bengals, now you got 2 monsters on both sides. That defense is already more buff than it's ever been. Not to mention they targeted linebacker in the second round, which was needed. They got depth for their offensive line, which is finally something that can protect Joe Burrow. And then you went and got some solid depth picks in the later rounds. You only had 6. You can only really work with what you have. I believe this was a solid draft. They hit every hole they needed. They didn't waste a pick in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a B. I think that they overall had a good draft. They worked on positions that they needed, which after last year, we could really see what the Bengals needed. I'm excited to see how they are this year. I'm excited to see if they can score a lot of points without giving up a lot of points, which seems to be a little theme that they have going on right now. And I think they're going to be a better team this year.
All right. And then we move into the final team in the AFC North. That, of course, is the Baltimore Ravens. 11 picks. I'm going to quickly try and go through this as quick as possible. First round pick was Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. Then they got Mike Green, who honestly I was surprised fell to the second round, Lucas. We both had him as a first round pick, edge out of Marshall. Then in the third round, Emory Jones Jr., offensive tackle from LSU. Teddy Buchanan, linebacker from Cal. Carson Vincent, offensive tackle from Alabama A&M. Bial Cohn, cornerback from Western Michigan. Tyler Loop, kicker from Arizona in the 6th round. Interesting pick with Tucker still being on the team. LaJohntay Wester, wide receiver from Colorado. Anais Pebbles? I don't want to mispronounce your name. I apologize.
I think it's Peebles.
It's Peebles?
I'm assuming.
That's what I thought it was.
Isn't Pebbles just one E?
No.
I don't know.
I'm with the Carlington, man. I don't know. Give me a break. Defensive lineman from Virginia Tech. Robert Longerbeam, a cornerback from Rutgers. That's a cool name. And then Garrett Dillinger, interior offensive lineman from LSU. So, are you okay over there?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm great.
Don't pick on my man Robert now.
I'm not picking on...
Don't pick on Robert, man. I see you smirking over there.
Sorry, just Longerbeam's Peebles. So.
Ravens might have had the best draft in just terms of names.
I was gonna say, if Jack was here, he'd give the Ravens an A+.
Okay, a Cone, Loop, Wester, Peebles, Longerbeam, Dillinger. What a good draft, Ravens. A++.
A++, S++, All-Star something.
Honestly, they got 3 guys that could have been first-round picks. One of them fell to the second, one of them fell to the third. Emory Jones Jr. is a beast, the injuries aside. Mike Green is a solid player. Malachi Starks is a solid player. I'm not going to lie, Lucas, A-. I think the Ravens killed it. They got a lot of skill positions, and they needed it. I was a little surprised they didn't take a receiver till the 6th round. But we know the Ravens, they really don't care for having that star receiver. They rely heavily on their running game, and they rely heavily on their offensive line. And guess what? They took 2 of them before the 5th round, so it makes sense with the way they did their draft, but overall, I don't got a problem with this draft. Again, they hit every hole they needed to, just like the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them. I actually give them an A.
Okay.
I mean, they had a lot of problems on that they filled. I think that these players are gonna help a lot. I was surprised that they took a kicker and Tyler Loop. I was kind of surprised about that. It was something I definitely didn't expect the Ravens to pick, but maybe it'll work out for them. I think they're gonna be a pretty difficult team to deal with this upcoming playoff season. They're probably gonna make the playoffs, and then Mark Andrews will drop a ball somewhere, and then they'll be out.
Now, something we're going to do here a little differently this year is at the end of this, we're not going to go through and predict where everyone's going to go yet because we already did that before, and we're going to do that later on this year going into the summer. But after each division, we're just going to quickly do a recap on that. What team do you... So when we look at the AFC North as a whole now, we recap the Steelers, recap the Browns, recap the Bengals, recap the Ravens. Do you feel more confident about the teams in the North or less confident about the teams in the North? What's your opinions on all these teams as a collective whole now?
I'd say all the teams got better.
All teams got better? I would say that I believe the Browns are honestly about the same of where they're at. They definitely filled holes, but not enough to make a drastic change. The Steelers, in my eyes, got significantly worse. They're still probably going to pull out the same results, but just on paper, it doesn't look that good. The Bengals and Ravens, I have no complaints. I expect both of them to have 10-plus wins next year with this draft. If they don't, I'm going to be pretty disappointed, in all honesty. Let's move over to the AFC East now. I was interested about this one. The Buffalo Bills. They had 9 picks. First round pick, they got Maxwell Hairston, cornerback out of Kentucky. Then they went and got T.J. Sanders, defensive lineman from South Carolina. Landon Jackson, edge from Arkansas. Deion Walker, defensive lineman from Kentucky. That's 2 Kentucky players for the Buffalo Bills. Jordan Hancock, cornerback from the Ohio State University. Jackson Hawes, tight end from Georgia Tech. Dorian...
You're right over there.
Huh?
You're right over there.
Yeah, I had to say the. You have to emphasize the.
No, you start laughing.
I did start laughing. I'll wait till you see some of these other names. Dorian Strong, cornerback from Virginia Tech. Chase Lunt, offensive tackle from UConn. And Caden Prather, wide receiver from Maryland. I'm surprised he fell to the 7th round. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, you need a wide receiver, but was this draft really as bad as people are making it out to be? I mean, they got the corner depth. They got another defensive lineman. I mean, they targeted mostly defense in this draft. They only out of the 9 picks, only 2 of them were offense, and we didn't see it until the 5th round. So I'm so 50-50 on this one, Lucas. I'm cool with giving it a B-. I don't think it was as bad as people were making out to be.
No, I actually said in the draft episode that I really don't think Buffalo needs to worry about the offense that much. So I'm going to give it a B+. They took what I said. They took a lot of defensive players. Wasn't the best draft out of these teams at all, but it was a good draft.
Yeah, and you finally got that lockdown corner in Hairston. I'm excited to see the way he pans out in the NFL. I believe he can be a pretty solid player. Got him at pick 30. I expected him to go a little higher. I had him in more the 20-25 range. He fell to 30. I mean, I don't see an issue at all with Buffalo. T.J. Sanders in the 2nd round, he's going to be a day 1 starter. Landon Jackson will be a day 1 starter. Deion Walker will be competing. Hancock will be competing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited to see the way this defense pans out. Kudos to Buffalo.
You said cock.
Really? That's what made you laugh over there? Oh, my gosh, we're doing children today. You want to know another team that had 11 picks? The New England Patriots. My goodness, what a draft they had. They started off with the big one that both of us expected. Will Campbell.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU. Then they got an absolute steal in the 2nd round with Trayvon Henderson, running back out of the Ohio State University. Kyle Williams, wide receiver from Washington State. Jared Wilson, interior offensive lineman from Georgia. Craig Woodson, safety from Cal. Joshua Farmer, defensive lineman from Florida State. Braden Switson, edge from LSU. Andre, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, I apologize. Borgelis, kicker from Miami. Marcus Bryant, offensive tackle from Missouri. Julian Ashby, long snapper from Vanderbilt. And Kobe Minor, cornerback from Memphis. Honestly, this was a pretty solid draft for the New England Patriots. They got the guy they needed to protect Trayvon Henderson. Drake May.
I was going to say, where are you going about?
Hold on. They got a guy to protect Drake May and Will Campbell. Then you bring in a guy in Trayvon Henderson who, again, can split the field. This is a dual-threat running back. He's explosive. He's quick out of the backfield. He can make plays on the run. I'm very excited to see the way they pan out. They also got Kyle Williams in the 3rd round, which, I'm not going to lie, there was a couple other receivers there you could have taken above him. I was kind of looking for someone else, but this guy does bring size, which you do need. This is a tough one for me. I'm going to give it a B. I don't want to give it any higher because I feel like a B+ is giving them too much credit. There was receivers there early on, but I understand why they took Henderson. This is a B. Nothing else really to say. They got a steal in the 1st round. They got the best lineman in the draft. You can't really get them lower.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B as well. I think they had a good draft. I think that they helped out Drake May a lot, which is something they definitely need to do going into his second year. He needs weapons. He needs protection. You got them both. No complaints.
Yeah, no complaints whatsoever. I'm very excited to see the way both of these teams play next year. And we have some sad news about our next team, too, before we actually get into the draftees with the New York Jets. Jets quarterback, second-year quarterback, who never actually played a snap, Jordan Travis, is unfortunately going to retire. Medical officials and doctors recommended it after his injury he suffered at Florida State going into the NFL draft. I want to wish him nothing but the best in his future career. He was a hell of a player at Florida State, led him to an undefeated record. Of course, that year was the year that we all bickered, get back and forth on why Florida State was left out of the championship. This was before it was a 12-team playoff bracket when it was only 4. They were the 5th team out, which, again, that's the NCAA's fault. How are you going to have 5 power conferences but only 4 playoff spots? That makes absolutely no sense. Florida State, unfortunately, was the team left out. They played no competition that year. I'm sorry, I don't take Clemson and Miami seriously. You have to play a real team. But
Speaking of that, we forgot Ryan Watts.
Yes,
Steelers.
that was the other one I was going to mention. Ryan Watts also forced to medically retire. I hate seeing players have to retire this early, man. So both Watts, Travis, or any other players that we may have missed out there that have to retire early, we wish you all nothing but the best here from 2 Jagoffs.
Yeah, neck injury. Ugh.
Oh, man, those are the worst.
Yeah.
I hate those stupid neck injuries.
Suffer during preseason.
Yeah, we wish them all nothing but the best. It's nice to see the team still letting them use the training facilities and the rehab and stuff to be able to help them out.
Yeah.
So kudos to all the teams. Let's talk about the Jets draft, though. Only 7 picks this year. One of the lower drafts for the Jets. They usually have anywhere from 10 to 12 picks, it feels like, every single year. But this year was pretty low for them. They got Amar Membo, offensive tackle from Missouri in the first round. Then Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU. Isaiah Thomas, cornerback from Florida State. Arian Smith, wide receiver from Georgia. Malachi Moore, I like that name, defensive back from Alabama. Francisco Miago, linebacker from Miami. I apologize. And then Tyler Barron, edge from Miami. Back-to-back Miami picks.
Maui go, maybe?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maui Goa?
Maui go. We apologize. We're
M-A-U-I. It's like Maui, right?
English is not my strong suit.
Like from a Moana? Maui?
Like from Moana?
I'm being serious.
Maui.
Isn't that how you spell Maui? Like M-A-U-I?
Yeah.
No? So Maui Goa?
Maui. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maui.
I'm going to South Fan, man.
It's got to South Fan, man.
You're going to contact us, South Fan. What do we know?
What do you know? Austin, can you put a picture of Maui from Moana up on the screen real quick? I'm sorry, I had to do it once. That was a good one. I'm going to be at Point Park forever tonight, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I used to get tonight. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, I have to go tonight. Why'd I do that to myself?
Do you want me to go with you?
Do you want to? So, I mean, you're going to be down there for a minute, so probably not.
I don't want to go on the bus.
Yeah.
The bus driver kind of didn't like us last time. Kind of scared to go on the bus again.
I got money on my card.
Bus driver was mean last time.
He was mean to you?
Do you remember? You came up and yelled at him. You're like, what?
I did yell at him. Poor bus driver. I did yell at that poor bus driver. What's your opinion on the Jets? Well, we can take Maui off the screen now, Austin. Thank you. Go back to the
Yeah, just put Matt Hardy on the screen.
Why?
Just put a picture of Matt Hardy on the
For
screen.
how long?
Uh,
Done with the Jets?
Till we're done with the Jets, yeah.
Okay. Matt Hardy. Oh, there he is.
Hi, Matt Hardy.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
That's a new picture.
It is a new picture.
Nice job, Austin.
You did an alright job, Austin.
We talking about the Jets now?
I was trying to, and then you started talking to Matt Hardy.
Oh my gosh.
Are you done talking to Matt Hardy?
I'm done talking about Matt.
So I can talk about the Jets now.
Yes, you can talk about the
Because
Jets.
Matt Hardy is still on the screen.
Yeah, Matt Hardy is.
And he's going to be
still
on the screen the entire Jets
First it was
conversation.
Maui, now it's Matt Hardy.
It's crazy that we both had Membu going here, I'm pretty sure. And we both got it right.
We did.
It's actually crazy that I got more picks right than you did, and you said that I was going to have the bad draft
Oh my
list, but I actually had more right than you.
We're talking about the Jets. We're not bashing me for my NFL mock
Well,
draft.
you said multiple times on the phone and on the thing that I just did all right, and on the phone you were like, you're probably not going to have a good draft list, and then I had more right than you did. It's kind of embarrassing on your end. This is also only my second ever draft that I've ever watched, in case you were wondering.
Thanks, Lucas.
You're welcome.
Can you go now?
Oh, yeah, I probably can go now. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I'd say like a C minus.
I'm going to be a little nicer. I'm going to say B minus because after round 2, I honestly don't care for the rest of the picks. I believe the rest of the picks are simply just competition level picks. They're going to be competing in training camp and practice squad, so it's kind of hard to assess it. The Membo pick makes the most sense. You got to protect Justin Fields, and that's exactly what they're going to do with this pick. Justin Fields has not had a solid offensive line to play behind since he was at Ohio State, so it's going to be kind of nice to see him finally with a solid offensive line. I really like the Mason Taylor pick. I believe this is a big tight end. This is a guy that can spread the field. He reminds me a lot of Pat Freiermuth, actually. Hopefully the Jets can utilize him more than the Steelers are Freiermuth at the moment, but this is a guy that can work day one with Justin Fields, and you want to give Justin you some youth talent to pair with, and I believe Mason Taylor is a great guy to do so. He worked with Jaden Daniels. He worked with Garrett Nussmeier. I believe he can do the same thing with Justin Fields. Love this pick. I'm going to give it a B-.
I like the first 2-3 picks, and then it just kind of is like, eh.
And that's why I said it kind of falls off. But I like the first two can be day one starters. So.
Like all the other teams so far that have been given B's and stuff, the entire list is okay, those could all be potentials. This list,
you kind of have to look at the first couple picks. That's really.
I'd maybe bump. Okay, maybe I'll bump it up to a C, but I'm not even at a C plus yet.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not mad at the C minus pick because the Jets.
I'll give them a C because the first 3 picks are good, but then after that, I don't even know if those players are really going to see the field day one. It's it's hard. The other teams, all the players could maybe have a chance or be able to compete for a day one starting spot, but I don't know about these ones.
Well, there's one more team we're going to talk about. We can get Matt Hardy off the screen and go back to our NFL draft logo because we're going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins. And they had 8 picks. They got Kenneth Grant in the first round, defensive tackle out of Michigan. He, of course, was the teammate of Mason Graham on that championship defensive line. Jonas Salvagna, inside offensive lineman from Arizona. Jordan Phillips, not that Jordan Phillips, a different Jordan Phillips, defensive lineman from Maryland. Jason Marshall Jr., cornerback from Florida. Dante Trader Jr., safety from Maryland. Ollie Gordon II, who I have a lot to talk about in a second, running back from Oklahoma State. Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Texas. And then Zeke Biggers, defensive lineman from Georgia Tech. I'm not going to lie to you, Lucas. Ollie Gordon was a guy that I believed was the best running back in the nation at one point. But my biggest concern with him was honestly the off-the-field issues. We saw the off-the-field issues that transpired at Oklahoma State, and that led to his draft stock being hurt. So if honestly he can get his act together going into the league, I believe he could be a starter for the Dolphins. The Dolphins lost Raheem Mostert. He is now a part of the Las Vegas Raiders. We don't know how the rest of the team, like Devon Achane, he's been on and off the field with injuries his first 2 years. When he's on the field, he's a monster. He gets 2 to 3 touchdowns every game, it feels like. But if Achane isn't healthy, you're going to need another guy to fall back on. And I believe Ollie Gordon can be that guy. So yeah, he's a 6th-round pick, but who knows what can happen. Quinn Ewers is another one that's interesting. This is a quarterback that a lot of people believe could be a 1st-round pick beginning of the year in college football. He fell to the 7th round, was almost undrafted. So it's going to be interesting to see the way Quinn Ewers plays. And then Kenneth Grant, man, I mean, that's an absolute steal in the 1st round. The rest of this draft is pretty underwhelming. I really like the Kenneth Grant pick, but I can't give it any higher than a C. It's the same thing with the Steelers for me. You got a great day one starter round 1, but the rest of the draft's unproven.
It's crazy. I'm on ESPN right now going through all these picks. It's crazy how bad of a grade most of these players actually have. Mm-hmm. Most of these players are in the 40s. The top 2 picks are both great grades. And I actually agree with that. I think that both their first 2 picks are pretty good. But then a lot of these picks could have to the 40s and 30s. Besides Quinn Ewers, he had a 69, but he ain't playing.
No. I mean, he might with 2 injury history.
Yeah, whenever 2 gets in the concussion this season for the 97th time. I can't believe he's not medically retired yet. I can't believe that. His doctors had to have told him to retire. He's just not listening to them like the rest of these players are.
Hey, he got that heart, man. He got heart.
He's got something. I'd give him a C. Out of the first 2, maybe 3 picks, it's not looking good.
So you got a C as well?
Yeah.
All right, I think we now move over to the AFC West.
Actually, I'm going to make them a C minus. I take it back. If I give the Jets a C, I'm giving them a C minus.
You're giving them a C minus?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. C minus. Well, overall, looking from the AFC East before we move to the AFC West, what's your thoughts and opinions here?
Worse than the AFC North.
Worse than the AFC North? Yeah, I mean, the Bills definitely gotten better, so I'm excited to see the way they play. The Jets, they're always that 50-50 team, but something's going to happen to them going into the season. We know it's the Jets. It's bound to happen. Patriots, they're building back better for the future, but don't expect much more. The Dolphins, I don't see much hope. I'm sorry. Sorry, Miami.
Crazy that the Dolphins were, borderline, conference worries, conference playoff worry team, 2 seasons ago, and now they're, nobodies. Mm-hmm. They're just falling off hard.
Ready to talk about the Raiders?
Oh, God.
I'm very interested to talk about this one. So we got round 1, 11 picks, by the way. Ashton Genty, running back out of Boise State, was taken with the 6th overall pick. We will get to that here in a second. Also taken was Jack Beach or Betch. I don't know.
I think it's Betch.
Betch, okay. Jack Betch, wide receiver from TCU. Darian Porter, cornerback from Iowa State. Caleb Rogers, offensive tackle from Texas Tech. Charles Grant, offensive tackle from William and Mary. I'm actually really excited to see the way he plays. Dante Thornton Jr., wide receiver from Tennessee. Tonka Hemingway, defensive lineman from South Carolina. That's a pretty cool name. Yeah. J.J. Pigways? Again, apologies. Pigways? Defensive lineman from Ole Miss. Most of this episode is just us trying to sound out names. We do apologize. We're not trying to offend anybody's last name. We just suck with... He went to South Bend, I went to Carleton. Give us a break, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't exactly have the best grammar department. Tommy Mellett, quarterback from Montana State. And then Cam Miller, only 2 picks later, quarterback from North Dakota State, who most likely is going to play wide receiver in the NFL. And then Cody Lindenberg, linebacker from Minnesota.
They have Tommy Mellett listed as a wide receiver.
That's who it was, Tommy Mellett. He's going to be wide receiver. Well, he was a quarterback at Montana State, but he's going to be playing receiver in the NFL. Kind of like a Julian Edelman. Edelman played quarterback in college. He's going to play receiver in.
It's crazy that people can go from quarterback to wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. So what's your thoughts on the Raiders, man? I mean, they got Genty, like we said.
I think I'm excited to see Genty play. And the rest of these players I really don't know anything about. The Raiders are such a bad team that this is a pretty good draft for them. But, like, it's not going to do anything for them. They're still going to be a pretty bad team, in my opinion. I mean, they beefed up the offensive and defensive line a little bit. They got some weapons for Gino to work with in Genty and Betch. And helped their defensive backfield in Darian Porter, but it's B-.
I agree with you. I got B- as well. Genty's a great pick. He's going to do great things. I didn't really understand the Jack Betch pick. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really see him as a second-round wide receiver. I mean, he's not a bad player. He could definitely be a starter on some teams. But I feel like you could have got him later on. I feel like there's other holes to be filled. The back-to-back offensive lineman picks, Caleb Rogers and then Charles Grant at pick 98 and pick 99, that right there is awesome. And it's funny. I was actually watching the NFL draft live, and I saw that Charles Grant was on the board, and I was like, oh, the Raiders got to take him. That guy right there, because I watched one William and Mary game this year, and that was the only player I remember because of how good he was. I forget what he did, but he blocked the one guy, and he, pushed him backwards, and he did, a WWE sell where he did, a stunner, and he fell backwards. It was so funny. And they didn't take Charles Grant, and I'm like, oh, my God, what's wrong with you? He's right there. And then the next pick later, they take him. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that works. So that was a pretty funny story. But, yeah, they got offensive line depth. The quarterback situation in the 6th round, I mean, they're confident with Geno Smith, man. Neither one of these guys are going to see the field either way. So I'm happy that Mellett is going to try and play wide receiver. It's a tough transition, but Edelman did it, so why can't he? Cam Miller, I mean, he was a solid quarterback at North Dakota State as well, former champion there as well. But, yeah, he's going to be a solid backup at best. B-. Great draft, filled some holes, but not really going to help the team much better. Next up, we got the L.A. Chargers.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. 9 picks, first round. What a steal. Omarion Hampton, running back from North Carolina. Round 2, Trey Harris, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Jamari Caldwell, defensive lineman from Oregon. Kyle Kennard, edge from South Carolina. Keandre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver from Auburn. Andre Gardson II, tight end from Syracuse. Branson Taylor, my boy, offensive tackle from Pitt. Hail to Pitt. R.J. Mickens, safety from Clemson. And Triquezie Bridges, cornerback from Florida. Again, apologies for the mess up. I'm going to be honest, A-, Lucas. This was a great draft for the Chargers. They got Trey Harris, who is going to be big time for Justin Herbert. Omarion Hampton, who you're pairing with Najee Harris. You're already bringing back Mike Williams. You got Ladd McConkey, who led the West in receiving yards last year for the LA Chargers. This is an offense that's going to be pretty underrated. For the first time in Justin Herbert's career, we can confidently say he has multiple weapons at his disposal. Depending on how Quentin Johnson plays as well, he's been a pretty big disappointment since he's been drafted. But overall, this is a solid team. They filled depth in the later rounds. They got my boy from Pitt, which you know is going to get some Browning points. I got to give him an A-. No and ifs or buts about it. Hampton was a steal. Great draft. A lot of people are saying, oh, they got Najee. They don't need Hampton. Clearly, you don't watch football. This is going to be one of the best 1-2 punch running back duos if they use it correctly. And guess who their head coach is? Jim Harbaugh, who when he was the head coach at Michigan had the best 1-2 punch running back combo with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. Love this pick. Can't wait to see the way the Chargers play.
Yeah, I gave it a B+. The only thing I was a little confused on is why they took another wide receiver in Smith in the 5th round. I feel like they already had enough.
Depth.
I know it's depth, but like they already drafted one. They already got a couple solid guys. I feel like they could have used it somewhere else, but it was still a really solid draft.
That's a fair assessment. I don't mind Keandre Lambert-Smith either. He was actually a starter at Auburn, so a lot of people were surprised they fell at low. But yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. They definitely could have got like another corner there or some other skill position, but I still think it was a good draft. This could make them a playoff contending team if all goes correctly. Yeah. Because we were talking about how the Raiders are out, the Broncos and Chiefs will be competing, but we really didn't say much about the Chargers. This may set them over the top if they really want to.
I think Herbert will be a happy man.
Herbert's going to be a very happy man. Let's hope he can stay healthy as well. Let's talk about the Broncos down for a second. 7 picks. First round, they got Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas. R.J. Harvey, running back from UCF. Pat Bryant, wide receiver from Illinois. Savion Jones, defensive lineman from LSU. Quay Robinson, edge from Alabama. Jeremy Crowshaw, punter from Florida. And Caleb Larner, tight end from Utah. Honestly, Lucas, C-. This was a very underwhelming draft for me for the Denver Broncos. They had a chance to get another receiver early on. They didn't until the 3rd round. The running back choice in the 2nd round really didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand the Jahdae Barron pick in the 1st round because you literally have arguably the best corner in the NFL with Pat Surtain. Yeah, this is going to be great because Barron's a great corner, but I just feel like you could have taken an edge here. You didn't take one until the 4th round. You could have taken a defensive lineman here. You didn't do it until round 4. There were so many other picks, and then Derek Harmon goes by the next pick later. I feel like that would have been a better pick for the Denver Broncos. So I believe this was a C-. I don't really see too much benefit here. I'm not going to give it anything lower, though, because the players they drafted at least are going to be beneficial. It's not someone that concerns me, but they didn't really fill the holes they needed to.
I was really tempted to give him a D, but I gave him a C-. I mean, none of these picks make sense to me. I mean, you took a corner at number 1. That was the biggest mistake of the entire draft. Like you said, they have the best corner in the NFL. Why are you taking one 1st round? You could have waited till 3rd round or 4th round. That was just useless in my opinion. The running back, probably could have taken someone else. The wide receiver, all right. Taking a back-to-back edge, I don't know. Punter, probably could have waited till the 7th round and picked someone else there, but it just seems like everything was so out of order with them. It just seems like everything they took, they could have taken like a round later or something like that. So, C-, borderline D.
We're in agreement there. And last but not least, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's so weird not saying the reigning, defending Kansas City Chiefs anymore because they're not. They're not the Super Bowl champions. They were the Super Bowl runner-ups this past year, and they had 7 picks. First round, they got Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from the Ohio State University.
What are you doing?
How dare I be disrespectful?
How dare you?
How dare
Leave.
I? Huh?
Leave.
I'm not leaving.
Leave.
No, I'm not.
This
isn't Steel City.
I can run through this. Just leave.
Okay. Omar. What, you want to run through the Kansas City Chiefs picks?
I can.
All right, Lucas is taking over. Lucas carries for the Chiefs, y'all.
Oh, God. Your dad's going to love this part.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's sit up for this. All right. We got Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle from Tennessee. Ashton Gillette?
Gillette? I guess, I don't know.
I have no clue. That was really throwing me off.
Edge from Louisville.
Noel Williams. Quarterback from California. Jalen Royals, wide receiver from Utah
State. It's not Utah. It's Utah State. They're two different schools.
Keep crying. Okay. Jeffrey Bassa. You okay with it?
I'm good.
You sure?
Yes.
Do you want like?
What school did he go to? And what position did he play, Lucas?
You're this close.
Well, good luck us getting Jeffrey Bassa on the podcast now with you taking so long on his name.
You're the one that's laughing over there. Linebacker from Oregon, and Brashard Smith, running back from SMU.
I'm still mad at him because he had 2 touchdowns on Pitt last year. Brashard Smith.
He's my favorite pick from the Chiefs now.
What's your opinion on this draft overall?
Good first-round pick. Mahomes needs it. Needs the help there. I mean, he got destroyed last season with the pressures and with the sacks. I like the defensive tackle pick. You've had some issues keeping Chris Jones there with some money issues, so start building that line now before he's inevitably leaving. Edge, once again, I think it's a good pick. Noel Williams, yeah, I can see it. Jalen Royals, they need wide receiver. I don't know if they need like they have so many wide receivers, but none of them are great. Yeah. So getting another one, I don't even know if he's gonna see the field day one or not. Depends.
More the merrier. That's the Chiefs' motto.
It depends who's there and who's healthy and how they play, I guess. So he might see the field. Probably not gonna see the field on day one though. Jeffrey Bassa, another good pick, I guess, and Brashard Smith, just kind of there.
I give
It just seemed like I thought they were gonna work more on the offensive line than they did. Really, I'm kind of disappointed that they got one player instead. Good luck, Mahomes. Start running. Mm-hmm. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give him a B because the tackle was the most needed pick, and Simmons was actually the guy I had on my board for the Chiefs to take. I believe that was the Chiefs' best option going into this draft, and they took just that. So kudos to them. Norman Lott is another solid pick as well, but outside of that, it did kind of fall off for me. But they hit positions they needed. They hit receiver, they hit corner, they hit running back. So it's not like they didn't hit positions. It was just kind of scattered. So I still feel like giving it a B because it's not like they took a quarterback at a random spot, or it's not like they took a tight end when they didn't need to. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. Josh Simmons is what takes him over the top, and he is going to be a star. Mark my words. Multi-time Pro Bowler incoming with Simmons from the Ohio State University. B.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B-.
All right, let's talk about them Duval County for a second. Jacksonville Jaguars. What a draft they had. 9 picks.
Got fleeced.
Actually, wait, we forgot to talk about the West as a whole. What do you think about the West? I mean, Chargers improved. Broncos, Chiefs kind of still where they are. Raiders, it's the Raiders.
Wasn't great. It was all right.
It was all right. But not the Jags. Travis Hunter, first round with the second overall pick. They traded up for him, wide receiver / cornerback out of Colorado. Then they got my man down in Tulane. Got to show some love to the Green Wave. Caleb Ransall, cornerback out of Tulane University. Wyatt Millum, offensive tackle from West Virginia. Bashal Tootin, running back from Virginia Tech. Jack Kaiser, linebacker from Notre Dame. Jalen McLeod, linebacker from Auburn. Royan Lane III, safety from Navy. Jonah Monheim, offensive tackle from USC. And LaQuint Allen, running back from Syracuse. What a loaded draft for the Jags, man.
Oh, I thought you were going to go.
I mean, I can go real quick, yeah. So Travis Hunter, man, what a steal of a pick for him. This is going to be such a great player to help out Trevor Lawrence, and it seems like they're willing to let him play both sides of the ball, which is what Travis Hunter wanted to do, so kudos to them on that. My thing with Travis Hunter is he got to remain loyal. He got to remain humble. The difference between him and Shedeur, we saw cockiness and arrogance at times from Shedeur. Some people say it's confidence. Some people say it's cockiness. I say it's a little bit of both. It's a little bittersweet for me. I see the cocky side of him, but I also see the confident side, and I respect both of it. Travis Hunter has always came across as humble. He's just that good of a player that people hate on him so much. And I was one of those guys because I was a big Ashton Genty guy going into the Heisman running, as were you, Lucas. But Travis Hunter, there's no denying his talent. There's no denying it's going to translate to the NFL level if he takes it seriously. And I believe he's going to do just that because the Jags aren't going to trade up and give away 2 first rounds for a reason. I mean, you're pretty much giving 1 first round pick for a wide receiver and 1 first round pick for a corner. And guess what? You're getting both with Travis Hunter. So I'm happy with
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm happy with the pick. I know we could debate about if they spent too much or spent too little. That's a different story for a different day. At the end of the day, this is still a great pick. I think he's going to be a great player for them. Outside of that, though, you go down and get corner, you get lineman, you get running back. They hit every hole they needed to hit. So with that all being said, I'm going to give the Jacksonville Jaguars an A-. I believe this was one of the better drafts we've seen from other teams. I know they spent a lot this year. They made some moves in the 4th round as well, moving around, going to get Tootin, going to get Kaiser. They've been all over the place. But still an amazing draft on paper for me. I don't think they're going to be a threat next year yet. It all depends on Trevor Lawrence. And I'm so sick and tired of the Trevor Lawrence hate that's getting out there. How many other quarterbacks have we seen play 5 seasons in the NFL with 4 different head coaches? Give me another quarterback that played 5 seasons in a row with 4 different head coaches and still did what Trevor Lawrence did, and then we can talk. Very disappointed that Trevor Lawrence hates. It is unwarranted.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B+. My main reason for that is because of how much they spent. I think they got absolutely fleeced. But yeah, I don't think they're that big of a threat yet. But
A B? A B?
B plus.
They got Hunter.
It's one
And-
grade lower than yours.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Yeah, I
because
guess.
they spend so much.
Okay, and guess what? I got a B plus in my media ethics class. It could have been an A minus though, Lucas.
Could have been, but it wasn't. Thank you. Thank you for actually helping my point. Thank you so much. No, I'm really excited to see Travis Hunter play though.
Okay, well you said it's one grade lower. It's a still significant impact, Lucas. You're affecting the overall GPA of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The
here.
Jacksonville Jaguars are a terrible run team. They need new ownership.
Well, I agree with you on that because
They don't deserve anything more with their owner.
Well, I mean, when the son of the owner of that team owns AEW, I mean, it's pretty obvious that you need to change ownership.
Yeah, with who the owner is, you should actually be making their grade lower because of how.
Well, I'm not grading it based on ownership. I'm grading it based on how they drafted it.
Wait, what'd you say their son owned?
AEW.
Can you just put a picture of Matt Hardy on the screen real quick?
Oh my god. Matt Hardy.
Look, there's Matt Hardy
Yeah, in AEW.
in AEW. Wow.
They screwed him over. I'm glad TNA's treating him well.
Yeah. How you doing, Matt Hardy? Yeah.
Back on the screen.
He's on the screen right now. He's still on the screen. He's gonna be on the screen until we're done with the next team, which is crazy.
Not till done with the next.
Until we're done with the next team.
Huh?
Until we're done with the next team. No one wants to see our boring logo on the screen for 2 hours.
No, it's not the boring logo. It's the NFL draft logo.
Sorry, no one wants to see the even boring or draft logo.
All right, well, we
At least
can,
my logo
you know
is
what,
like
fine.
custom made.
We will keep Matt Hardy on the screen for the next team we talk about. Because the next team we're talking about is actually your second favorite NFL team, the Houston Texans. I'm not even going to say anything about this draft. Let's just go through the players. They didn't have a first-round pick, but they did have a second-round pick with Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. Aontre Ursi, offensive tackle from Minnesota. Jalen Knoll, wide receiver from Iowa State. I found it interesting. They took 2 wide receivers from Iowa State this year in back-to-back rounds. Jalen Smith, cornerback from USC. Woody Marks, running back from USC. Jalen Reed, safety from Penn State. Graham Mertz, quarterback from Florida. Keontae Hamilton, defensive lineman from Rutgers. And Luke Lackey, tight end from Iowa in the 7th round. Lucas, what's your thought on your second favorite NFL team?
No BN.
No and what?
No BN.
Okay.
Do you know what that means?
What?
It's no good in Spanish. How do you not know? It's such a common phrase.
I speak English.
I knew what that meant before I even took
Lucas,
Spanish class.
Me and you are struggling to pronounce words and names that are in English.
I knew
what makes you think I know
knew what
Spanish?
no BN meant before I took Spanish class.
Okay, well, good for you. You probably watched Dora the Explorer growing up.
Gracias. Yeah, I actually did.
Okay.
Whenever I was like 5
Okay.
or 4 or maybe 3. I don't even know.
Okay.
Okay.
No hable español. Now let's move on.
Actually, no hablo Espanol.
Just talk about the Texans, man.
You can do it, lingo. Jeez.
Matt Hardy's still on the screen.
Matt Hardy is still on the screen.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. You know, instead of the draft logo, you should just put like the team logos on the screen for
That's-
whatever we're talking about.
That's
Post production, Austin, do that.
No.
Yes.
I'm not being a point unless you're coming with me to point part.
I mean, I would, but like you're taking the scary bus. I don't want to take the scary bus.
Well, we're taking the scary bus.
I'm not taking the scary bus. You're taking the scary bus.
Alright, well, I'll just give my grade then if you're not going to give it.
Well, but what if I'm gonna go give my
So
grade?
what's your grade?
Like a C plus.
C. Really?
I wasn't impressed. I thought they were gonna work on the line a little bit more than they did.
C minus. And it's
Oh, and you yelled at me for giving a C.
No, because I was surprised you gave a C. C minus for the simple fact that I was very disappointed in the wide receiver selections. Jaden Higgins was great, but why are you going out there and getting another wide receiver from the exact same
Because the
school?
wide receivers are the most unhealthy thing in all of the world.
But you get 2 from the same school?
Give them some chemistry. They got chemistry.
Okay, but do they have chemistry with the guy that's throwing them the football? No.
They probably wouldn't if they got a wide receiver from someone else either.
I'm just...
No.
Got issues, man. This was a solid draft for them overall in terms of depth, but in terms of guys that's going to be day one starters, you can make an argument for Higgins and Ursi, but outside of that, I don't see anything else. Maybe even Knoll, C minus at best. One of the worst drafts I've seen. Matt Hardy off the screen. Indianapolis Colts we go. Wow. I'm going to start with this one. Tight end, Tyler Warren. First round pick 14 from Penn State.
Can we talk about the fact that he wasn't the first tight end taken off the board?
Oh, we'll get to that. Don't worry. The rest of the picks they got. JT Tuminlala, edge from the Ohio State. Huh?
Tuimoloau.
I don't even know how to say that name.
It's Tuimoloau.
There,
That was not it.
what he said.
Tuimoloau.
We're just being disrespectful now with these people's
I'm not.
names.
At least I'm trying to get it. Like I'm not just disrespecting. Like I'm actually trying to think of how you would say it right.
Okay. Well, this one's easy. Justin Wally, cornerback from Minnesota.
Watch it be like Whaley.
I think it is Whaley.
Oh my God! Is it
no.
Whaley?
Whaley would have the H. Whaley would have the H in the front of it.
No, this is so easy. Mispronounces it.
All right. Well, if I mispronounce this next one, I really am dumb with English. Jalen Travis.
Especially Jolene.
It's like that Key and Peele skit. You know, like Aaron. Gotta get an Aaron. I love that skit. Yeah, Jalen Travis, offensive tackle from Iowa State. A lot of Iowa State players drafted. DJ Giddens, running back from Kansas State. Riley Leonard, quarterback.
Leonard.
Shut up. Riley Leonard, quarterback.
You actually sat there and thought about that for a second.
I had to. Quarterback from Notre Dame. Tim Smith.
You can't mess up that one.
I was about to say, how are you going to mess up Tim Smith, Lucas? Time Smythe? No, it's
Time Smythe.
defensive lineman from Alabama, and Hunter Wooler, safety from Wisconsin.
Wolier.
Okay, actually might be Wooler. What's your... All right, here's my thoughts on the Colts, man. The fact that the Bears took Loveland instead of Warren at pick 10 is just abysmal. We'll talk about that when we get to them in a little bit.
What's your grade for this team?
A-. Great draft, Colts. Kudos to you. Round of applause. It's not going to make the team better necessarily, but they hit every position they needed to. There's the clap, and I will say this. Hold on, time out. I will say this. Riley Leonard finally did his homework. He got drafted, Lucas. It's a full circle moment for us here on Two Jagoffs.
The fact that he has a chance of seeing this field is crazy.
Well, he's in the same
with
quarter
with Tap Out Richards and
Daniel Jones.
Yeah. I had to think about that for a second.
He has a chance. We'll see though.
Mo's newest employee, Daniel Jones. He's going to Mo's with Mike McCarthy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna hand out. I'm pretty sure my first A- of the episode.
Yeah, you've been brutal.
I was pretty much close enough to you. If you got an A-, I pretty much gave it a B+. Okay. You know, Tyler Warren not being taken first on the tight end list is disrespectful.
I agree. All right, well, we move into our final team, not only in the AFC South, but actually in the AFC overall, and that is the Tennessee Titans with 9 picks. The first-round pick and the first overall pick was, surprise, surprise, Cam Ward.
Wow, shocking.
Quarterback out of Miami. Oh, Lord. In round 2, pick 52. Can I say the name, please? Can I please say that? Olafemi. I know it's Femi at the end because of Obafemi from NXT. Olafemi Alejo. Alejo. Yeah.
Alejo.
We're just going to say Femi. Edge from UCLA.
Femi Dejo.
Kevin Winston Jr., safety from Penn State.
Kevin.
Chermy Dyke, wide receiver from Florida. Gunnar Helm, tight end from Texas. Alec.
Ayomanor.
Okay.
Ayomanor.
Wide receiver from Stanford. Jackson Slater, inside offensive lineman from Sacramento State.
Why do I know that name? Do you talk about him?
I might have, actually. I think I might have actually talked about him. Marcus Harris, safety from California. And Khalil Mullings, running back from Michigan. I'm surprised he got drafted, actually. I got to give it an A-. I mean, like, they filled holes they needed to later on. They got their quarterback. They got a good pick with the first overall pick. I mean, there's no complaints here on my end, Lucas. A-. If I'm giving the Jags and the Colts an A-, I feel like it's only fair to give the Titans one.
Yeah, I'll give him an A- as well. I'm excited to see Cam Ward play.
All right, let's now move into the NFC, and let's talk about the South. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 6 picks in the first round at pick 19. Emike Egbuka, wide receiver from the Ohio State. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame. Jacob Parrish, cornerback from Kansas State. David Walker, edge from Central Arkansas. Elijah Roberts, edge from SMU. And my boy Tez Johnson, wide receiver from Oregon. Great draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that Lucas is probably going to not like the Egbuka pick, and I'm going to try and convince you on why I believe it's a good selection. Chris Godwin is not 100% healthy going in the next year, and we don't know his status for the rest of his career. So if there is a significant injury with Godwin, this is a guy that could take over long term. And let's be 100% honest here, Lucas. Godwin and Evans don't have much longer. This is a guy you can build around for the future. Tez Johnson is a guy you can build around for the future. I'm a little sad that they didn't reunite him and Bo Nix in Denver. I'm very upset Denver didn't take Tez Johnson. Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish, oh my gosh, those are some steals right there for your secondary. Benjamin Morrison is going to be a day one starter. Don't be surprised if David Walker gets a couple of snaps as well at edge. I'm very impressed with this draft. A-. A lot of people doesn't like it. I know a lot of people gave him low draft ratings, but they are building for the future. Something the Bucs did. This is a team that we're going to see more of over the next 3 years. Not if you're talking about going in the next year, yeah, CC-, it's whatever, it's depth. But this is a team that's going to be built for the future. I was impressed with the way the Buccaneers looked at this.
Yeah, you're over here slandering my name while I'm ready to give them my first A.
What?
Yeah.
Kudos even. Well, you said on the phone that Ibuka was like, that was an awful day.
That was terrible. You completely missed my hand.
Grabbed your finger. Oh, we're coming all the way in. Okay.
No, I mean, it was the same with you and Harmon. I mean, you laughed at him whenever he first got drafted. I laughed at Ibuka whenever he first got drafted. We both took it back the next day.
That's fair.
So, no, I actually completely agree with that pick looking back at it, and I think that he's going to be a great player.
W, look at you. Look at us holding each other accountable. I love that.
Yeah, I held you accountable for Harmon. That disrespect on the first day was crazy.
Yeah, I was. And
you
I
called me hysterically laughing to the point I couldn't talk to you.
Well, you know I like making fun of the Steelers.
You can't defend it. There's no defending this. What a terrible pick. Awful pick. Never going to be a good pick in my eyes.
I stand by that with the Caleb Johnson pick, but that's besides the point.
No, well, you didn't say it. You didn't even make fun of that much on the phone. You made fun of Harmon the whole time on the phone.
Well, I wasn't talking to you when we were talking about Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson was the next night. All right, well, I think we now move into our next pick, and our next team, and that is the New Orleans Saints, who had 9 picks. Kevin Banks Jr. was their only first-round pick at pick 9. A lot of people believe the quarterback to go here. They got offensive tackle from Texas. They then did take a quarterback in the second round with Tyler Shue, quarterback from Louisville. Then came Vernon Broughton, defensive lineman from Texas. Jonas Senker, safety from Virginia. Danny Stutzman, linebacker from Oklahoma. Quincy Riley, cornerback from Louisville. Devin Neal, running back from Kansas. Malachi Maltova, tight end from UCLA. And Fadil Diggs, edge from Syracuse. They got the quarterback they believed in. A lot of people said Dart. Some people said Sanders. Saints said Shue. Kevin Banks Jr. is going to be great for pass protection. It doesn't matter if it's Derek Carr. Doesn't matter if it's Jay Kaner. Doesn't matter if it's Spencer Rattler. Doesn't matter if it's Tyler Shue. Either way, the quarterback is going to be protected from the blind side. Love this pick with Kevin Banks Jr. in the first round. I expected him to go a little higher. I know a lot of people want to give this low because Tyler Shue was overvalued, and I believe he was overvalued. But they hit the holes they needed to hit, so I'm going to give it a B. I feel like a B plus is too high. I feel like a B minus is too low. I'll go dead center, middle of the road. Good job to you guys. Let's see how it pans out. I'll give you a B.
I give it a B minus. Tyler Shue, yeah, I thought it was a little high. So it kind of took me away from a B towards a B minus. I think that they could have got him in like 3rd, maybe even 4th round with how the quarterbacks went in this draft, so.
B.
Minus.
Okay, B minus and B.
Yeah.
Well, then we go to the Carolina Panthers, 8 picks. We're not even going to try and say his name. We struggled last week. We're just going to say McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona.
Teteroa.
I'm not saying it. Then you
Teteroa. Sorry, McMillan. I think that's how you said it.
Okay.
Probably completely butchered it, but I think that's how you say it.
Nick Scroton, edge from Texas A&M. Princely Unalaman, edge from Ole Miss.
Malin.
Okay. Trevor Etienne, the brother of Travis Etienne, running back from Georgia. Lathan Ransom, safety from The Ohio State. Cam Jackson, defensive lineman from Florida. Mitchell Evans, tight end from Notre Dame. And Jimmy Horn Jr., shout out to my man, wide receiver from Colorado. I'm not going to lie. A minus. They got some edges. They filled holes they needed to fill. They got Bryce Young, a solid number 1 guy. They pair him up with Adam Thielen. I'm all for it. A minus. Good job, Panthers.
I'll give them an A minus. I was a little confused if they really need that wide receiver first round or not, but I think it's a good pick looking at who their quarterback is. I think that he's gonna need all the help that they can possibly get him. So I was gonna give him B plus or B originally, but I'll give him an A minus.
And last but not least, we got the Atlanta Falcons. Only had 5 picks in the draft this year, but 2 of them were actually first-round picks. First up, they got Jalen Walker, edge from Georgia. Then a couple picks later, they have a pick from the Rams where they got another edge in James Pierce Jr.
Isn't the first one a linebacker?
Linebacker edge.
That's what they haven't posted as.
Oh, well, it's an edge. A lot of people, he's a rotation guy. He could play either position.
Got you.
He was listed as an edge coming in, though. He might be transitioning to, like, full-time linebacker, but it's pretty much the same thing.
And they got 2 safeties.
Yeah. Safety Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. Safety Billy Bowman Jr. from Oklahoma. And offensive tackle Jack Nelson. Offensive tackle, I said it twice. Wisconsin. Lucas, what's your pick? What's your opinion on this? Only 5 picks.
Yeah, I mean, what they got wasn't bad. I'm just so unsure about who they got, though, and taking someone that's apparently edge, kind of, and then an edge, and then a safety, and then a safety. I'm going to say B minus, C plus range.
I'm going to shock you. A minus.
Really?
I think this was a great draft. Jalen Walker's a steal. He should have been in top 10 to 12 range, and he fell right into their hands. Didn't have to do anything for him. James Pierce Jr. I was a little confused at first on why they kind of traded back in for him. But in all fairness, this is a guy right here that I actually wanted the Cardinals to take. I believe James Pierce Jr. is going to be a monster.
Oh, yeah, I remember you were sad whenever they took him.
In the NFL. I was very sad when the Cardinals did not take James Pierce Jr., and he fell to the Falcons. Guess what? Edge was the number one position they needed. They got 2 day one starters with that. It's an investment right now. It's going to pay off in the end. Xavier Watts in the 3rd round, he's also going to be a day one starter. The Billy Bowman Jr. is honestly for depth. He's going to compete. I was a little confused on that. I honestly think they could have taken a running back there for depth for behind Bijan Robinson, but they decided to go safety. I'm not mad at it. And then Jack Nelson, no disrespect, probably won't see the field. He's a 7th round offensive lineman. I mean, if he competes in training camp, cool. Maybe he'll make the practice squad, but that pick was, honestly, I'm not really taking into consideration. I'm looking at both edges in the 1st round. They got 2 day one starters. That's the biggest hole they needed. That was honestly really the only hole they needed. A-. Very impressed. They didn't waste it on a receiver this year. All right, well, that's the entire NFC South. Thoughts, opinions? Think we were doing pretty good with this division going
I think this division was probably debatably the best division so far.
All right. I agree, Lucas. Now it is time we get into the NFC West, and now it is time we get into the Arizona Cardinals, who had 6 picks this year. Let's go through them all.
Number 1.
You're not reading my team.
You read my team.
No.
Yes.
In round 1, pick 16,
Walter Nolan.
Can you knock it off of there? Walter Nolan, defensive lineman out of Ole Miss. I was pretty surprised by this pick at first, but we'll get into my thoughts and opinions in a second. Then an absolute steal in the 2nd round at pick 47. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. Jordan Birch, defensive lineman from Oregon. Cody Simon, linebacker from the Ohio State University. Then Denzel Burke, cornerback from the Ohio State University. Hayden Connor, inside offensive lineman from Texas. They probably hate when I do that. They probably hate when I do that.
Everyone hates me to do that.
Well. And then Keaton Crawford, safety from Nevada. Would you like to go first on my team, or do you want to? Where do you want me to start?
All you.
All me. A-. Congratulations, Monty. This was the best draft you had as general manager. I know you only been here for a couple seasons. This was your best one yet. I didn't have a heart attack during draft night for once. Walter Nolan is a guy that is what J.J. Watt was supposed to be when he came in to help this defensive line. We were expecting this defensive line to be improved significantly. Walter Nolan is going to be working side by side with Calais Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. Not to mention you bring in Josh Sweat from free agency. Not to mention you're getting a day one starting corner in Will Johnson, who was arguably the best corner in the nation last year, had some knee injuries, which kind of made him fall to the 2nd round. He fell right to you. Didn't even have to trade up for him. That's going to buff that defense up. Then you get a guy in Jordan Birch, who was a part of the number 1 ranked defense with Oregon. And Lucas, we talked about how good Derek Harmon was. Guess what? The only other player you can argue from that Oregon defense that is better than him is this guy right here, Jordan Birch. Obviously, Derek Harmon is a day one starter. Birch is more of a competing guy, so Harmon is going to turn out better in the NFL. But Birch was right by his side during his time at Oregon. Simon at Ohio State, I'm going to call a spade here. He reminds me a lot of Jack Stoyer. The penalties are a little bit concerning. This Ohio State linebacking core racked up a lot of penalties this year, so I am a little concerned with that. I still believe he's going to be a great player, though. Hayden Connor, this is again for depth. Keaton Crawford's for depth. Nothing really to say here. They may not see the field. A-. I do believe, I know a lot of people wanted to see us go and target a wide receiver this year because Marvin Harrison Jr. was the pick that you got last year. He was the golden token. I feel like they really don't need one right now. This is a team that's going to be right outside the playoff hunt. I don't believe they're going to make it. I've been saying they're 7-10. They were actually 8-9 last year for the longest time, so I do apologize for that, spreading fake news. This was an 8-9 team. They were 1 win away from a winning record last year. Do I believe they're going to get over that hump? Only time will tell. I still have Kyler Murray on the hot seat, but this is clearly a Jonathan Gannon heavy influence draft. And in all honesty, I'm glad they gave him the keys to the car. It's about time. He's the head coach of this organization. Let him cook. Let's see what he can draw up. And Walter Nolan and Will Johnson back-to-back rounds, and then Jordan Birch. First 3 rounds, you get 3 day one starters. If you give this anything lower than an A, you're just hating. A-.
Harmon and Birch, Lucas and Austin, side by side. Look at us.
Yes. Yes, sir. Okay.
B+ is what I gave it.
Oh, you're such a jagoff.
Hey, it's not that bad. That's how it usually goes. If you give it an A-, I usually give it a B+.
You have 3 day one starters. 3!
Yeah, and I wasn't a huge fan of your last, 2 picks. Or 3 picks.
2 of them aren't even going to make the team.
Exactly.
They're 6th and 7th round picks. You can say the same thing about yours. What are you talking about?
All of our players will make it because we need all of them.
Gosh, just go.
What?
Why is it a C? Because a B plus.
I was gonna say C. I give it a B plus.
Why is it a B plus?
I mean, I like your first 3 picks. I think your 4th pick, I mean, just like mine, I'm not really that worried. I mean, in the NFL, he'll get off the penalty runs. Same with Jack Sawyer. I feel like in the NFL, they're both going to grow up a little bit. And then the last couple picks just didn't really impress me that much.
He's such a hater. Okay, let's move into our next team.
I'm a hater, but I gave you guys a B plus. You're not a hater, but you gave it like a C minus. So
I gave it a C. Actually, it was a B minus. Your buddy Nick Brown is the one that convinced me to drop it lower.
You got convinced by Nick Brown. I didn't get convinced.
Okay. Anyway, let's move into a division rival.
Nick Brown also thinks that Dallas is going to the Super Bowl. So
we'll get to Dallas later. LA Rams. 6 different picks were taken for them. Not a first round pick though. They traded out. Round 2, pick 46, they got Terrence Ferguson, tight end from Oregon, Hosea Stewart, edge from Michigan, Jarquez Hunter, running back from Auburn, Ty Hamilton, defensive lineman from The Ohio State, Chris Paul Jr., not CP3 from San Antonio, I'm talking Chris Paul, linebacker from Ole Miss, and then my boy, Konta Mumfield, so glad to see him get drafted, wide receiver from Pitt. As much as I love the University of Pitt, as much as I see the love here, this is going to be the worst grade I give today. D. Very disappointed in the LA Rams. They didn't hit a damn position. They didn't get a receiver till the 7th round. They didn't get an offensive lineman at all. Where is the offensive line protection? Matthew Stafford is going to be running for his life next year. Horrible draft. D.
I mean, 2 out of the 3 positions they needed the most were the last 2 picks of their draft, which is kind of embarrassing. The only one that they kind of hit earlier on was a running back, but they still waited till the 4th round on that. And then they didn't even address the secondary needs. C minus. It was bad. Borderline D, but it's hard to give teams a D because some of these players could turn around and be great players. You never know. So C minus is probably the lowest grade I'll give out today, and it's going to the Rams along with someone else that I gave earlier, I think.
Totally fair. We go into the San Francisco 49ers now, 11 picks. Mykal Williams, first round, edge from Georgia. Alfred Collins, defensive lineman from Texas. Nick Barton, linebacker from Oklahoma State. Upton Stout, cornerback from Western Kentucky. C.J. West, defensive lineman from Indiana. Jordan Watkins, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Jordan James, running back from Oregon. Marquez Siegel, safety from Kansas State. Curtis Rourke, shout out to my man KR, quarterback from Indiana. And Connor Colby, inside offensive lineman from Iowa. Oh, and excuse me, Junior Bergen, wide receiver from Montana. Almost forgot you, my man. I'm not going to lie, this was a pretty solid draft in terms of being able to fill defensive help. They needed it, and that's what they wasted their first 3 picks on. Edge, defensive lineman, and linebacker. You needed to do just that. I'm going to give this a B+. I don't think it's going to really take them over the top next year, but there's no reason why I should say this was a bad draft at all. I like Curtis Rourke in the 7th round as depth. I like Jordan Watkins as wide receiver depth. I like Jordan James as running back depth. This was a depth-heavy draft. This was the kind of fill the holes you needed for 2 drafts. B+.
I like this draft a lot. Just a little disappointed they didn't help their O-line at all, which was some positions they needed filled. They didn't get anything for the line. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but I'll give them a B.
All right. And last pick for the NFC West, we got the Seattle Seahawks with also 11 picks. They got Gray Zabel in the first round, offensive lineman from North Dakota State. Nick Amarori, safety from South Carolina. I nailed that one. Elijah Arroyo, tight end from Miami. Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama. Riley Mills, defensive lineman from Notre Dame. Torrey Horton, wide receiver from Colorado State. Robbie Outs, tight end from Alabama. Bryce Cabeldue, offensive tackle from Kansas. Damian Martinez, running back from Miami. Mason Richmond, offensive tackle from Iowa. And Ricky White III, wide receiver from UNLV. Sam Howell was also traded during draft night. He was traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Jalen Milroe is now going to be joining a quarterback room of Sam Darnold and Drew Lock. Sam Darnold, the obvious day 1 starter. I mean, you paid him a $100 million contract. You would expect just that. Milroe and Lock most likely competing for that QB2 slot. Overall, I feel like they hit holes they needed to hit. I just feel like the players that they drafted were underwhelming. No one really stood out to me as a name that I could be like, hold on, this guy's going to be a monster. This guy's going to be a freak. But they hit the positions. I'll give it a B-. I feel like a C is kind of unfair, but they got positions. Like Gray Zabel, they needed an offensive lineman in the first round, but they could have gotten so many other guys. Tyler Booker was there too. B.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't take a center.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a B-. Like you said, they took some positions they needed, but it was just underwhelming. The most notable name is probably Gray Zabel and Jalen Milroe.
Yeah,
so
honestly.
And Jalen Milroe has probably not seen the field for a good while, so.
No. Well, now I think we can talk about the division overall as a whole. I mean, we look at the NFC West. Teams are loaded with talent, but it still seems like they're no longer the best division in football, which they have been for a very long time. What's your thoughts about all four of these teams going into next year?
Not very great. I mean, they definitely got helped, but underwhelming.
And I'm not even saying this as a Cardinals fan. I'm just saying it feels like out of the four teams, the Cardinals are really the only team to improve post-draft. I'm not saying that they're the best team coming out of the draft, but like going into the draft, we all knew the Rams were a powerhouse. Seattle was 50-50. Arizona was 50-50. And San Francisco is starting to go on the downslope. It feels like San Francisco is still... Oh, crap, I'm dropping stuff.
Throw that anywhere.
It feels like San Francisco is still where they're at. It feels like Seattle is still 50-50. It feels like the LA Rams are now starting to drop. But the Cardinals, it seems like they've honestly increased a little bit with their draft. So I'm excited to see the way the West pans out next year. I don't know if I'm still quite ready to call the Cardinals a playoff contending team. I keep joking around about it off camera. I don't know if I want to make it official on the podcast yet because knowing the Cardinals, if I start hyping them up, they're going to disappoint me.
Hype them up.
I'm very hyped. This was a great draft. No one's going to take away the draft from me because you can't say that Will Johnson in the second round is not a bad pick. You can't say that Walter Nolan wasn't a good pick either in the first round. So very happy with the draft, but the rest of the West, pretty disappointed in all honesty. I expected better from Seattle and San Francisco. And LA. LA really disappointed me. Let's talk about the Commanders now. Let's go to the NFC East for a second. We're going to try and fly through these last two divisions because we're already at an hour 20 here. 5 picks. Josh Corneley Jr., offensive tackle from Oregon, was their first-round pick. Trey Amos, cornerback from Ole Miss. Jalen Lane, wide receiver from Virginia. Kalen Medrano, linebacker from UCLA. And Jacquerie Croskrey Merritt, running back from Arizona. I'm just going to flat out say this was a B+, Lucas. It was a good draft. They got the lineman to help protect Jaden Daniels. Trey Amos, I believe, was a first-round pick, and he fell to the second, so that's an absolute steal there. And you got depth in the 4th through 7th round. No complaints. Small draft, but not a bad draft.
I'll give him a B. Not great, not bad.
Nothing stood out to you?
Nothing really. I mean, even the first round, I don't know if they need to spend it on an offensive tackle first pick. I don't know. Or first round pick. Just could work out, might not. I don't know. Decent draft, I'd say.
Let's move over to the Philadelphia Eagles real quick. We got 10 picks.
The reigning, defending, Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles.
Champions. There it is, Lucas. Yeah, they got Giad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama in the first round with pick 31. Round 2, they go with Andrew Mabuka, safety from Texas. Ty Robinson, defensive lineman from Nebraska. Mac McWilliams, cornerback from UCF. Love that name. Smail Monin Jr., linebacker from Georgia. Drew Kendall, inside offensive lineman from Boston College. Kyle McCord, quarterback from Syracuse. Miles Hinton, offensive tackle from Michigan. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle from Texas. And Antoine Powell-Ryland, edge from Virginia Tech. B+. Good draft for Philly. I mean, it's kind of hard to fill holes whenever the Eagles don't really have many holes. Their defense was tanked significantly due to losing a lot of players post-free agency. I was pretty excited to see them pick up some some quarterback depth with Kyle McCord and some offensive linemen. Little disappointed they didn't take an edge, though. I was really expecting them to take an edge. They took one in the 6th round, but he's not going to be a starter, so I was hoping they would take one a little early, but Giad Campbell's still going to be a beast. He's still going to be a monster. B+. No complaints on my end, Lucas.
Would you say in any world Philadelphia needs a wide receiver right now?
I would say that they could use one, but they don't need to waste a draft pick on one.
They put wide receiver as one of their draft needs on ESPN.
Later rounds, yes. They need wide receiver depth, but they don't need a wide receiver starter. So, I feel like they could have used a wide receiver more than back-to-back offensive
There's an
tackles.
offensive guard, too. They have, the best offensive line in the league.
That took a tank, though, too. So, and
years.
they have a banged-up line all the time, it feels like.
That's true. I would say B+, though. Kyle McCord, you ain't seen the field, buddy.
Okay. No, yeah, because Tanner McGee's going to be the backup. New York Giants with 7 picks.
God.
Abdul Carter fell right to number 3, edge from Penn State. Kudos to you, Lucas, on getting that one. But they also traded back into the first round at pick 25 to get Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. From there, they got defensive lineman Darius Alexander out of Toledo. Cameron Scadaboo, my man, running back out of Arizona State. Marcus Mabeau, offensive tackle from Purdue. Thomas Fedone II, tight end from Nebraska. And Corey Black, cornerback from Ohio State. A-. Great draft, New York. You got your quarterback. You got a freak of nature in Abdul Carter. You got another freak of nature in Darius Alexander. You got a dual threat guy in Cam Scadaboo. You got Marcus Mabu, who's honestly going to be a solid backup. He can work right behind Andrew Thomas, who I believe is one of the best tackles in the league. No complaints whatsoever, Giants. Great job. Arguably the best draft in my eyes.
I'll give them an A+.
Really? First A+.
First A+ of the episode, first A+ out of me. I think they had a great draft. I think Jackson Dart has so much potential. Abdul Carter, best defensive player in this entire draft. He's going to be a beast. Darius Alexander, steal. Scadaboo, good luck, my friend. Marcus Mabau, I think he's gonna help out. Thomas Fedone, I don't. Do you think he'll see the field?
Probably not.
I don't know if he's gonna see the field or not. And then same with Corey Black. I don't know if he'll see the field or not. But overall, I think they had a great first 5 picks.
Let's talk about the Cowboys now. Last team in the NFC East. Last team before we get to our last division. 9 picks. First round, pick 12. Tyler Booker, inside offensive lineman from Alabama. Donovan Irizaraki, edge from Boston College. Siobhan Revel Jr., cornerback from East Carolina. Jaden Blue, running back from Texas. Shamar James, linebacker from Florida. Johnny Cornelius, inside offensive lineman from Oregon. Jay Taya, defensive lineman from UCLA. Phil Moffa, running back from Clemson. And Tommy Ekingbestow, defensive lineman from
Wow, I can't believe you got that last name.
Maryland. I'm surprised I did too. Listen, they overvalue Tyler Booker. Booker, they didn't need to take that high. They could have took somebody else. They could have got him in the later rounds. So that's number one. But Siobhan Revel is an absolute steal in the 3rd round. This is a guy that I was talking about how he was so underrated last week. He could have been a first-round pick, and he fell to the 3rd round. Very surprised by that. They filled holes they needed to. I'm okay with giving him an A- here. To say it's an A+, that was a little crazy. I don't believe this was a bad draft. For Jerry Jones and the Cowboys management, this was actually a solid draft. They weren't stingy. They weren't arrogant. They weren't pushy. They did what they needed to do. They did overvalue Tyler Booker, though. I will say that. That makes me want to kind of lean more towards B+, so I wouldn't be mad if you go that route, Lucas. But it's still a hole they need to fill. You need to protect Dak Prescott. Let's see how he plays next year. A-. Good job, Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm going to give them an A-. They pretty much filled every position they needed outside of maybe like a wide receiver in the later rounds, but I think they did a great job overall. I definitely wouldn't give them anything higher. I'm leaning more towards B+ than an A.
Facts.
Especially Tyler Booker at number 1, but no, I think they had a pretty good draft.
All right,
Good job, Jerry Jones. You did something right twice this year. You did a decent draft and got rid of McCarthy. Good job. Got to Moses McCarthy.
Too bad you couldn't replace McCarthy, but.
No, that's true.
All right, so now when we look at the NFC West, the NFC East, this is a very competitive division. The Cowboys got better, the Eagles got better, the Commanders got better, and honestly, the Giants got better. This whole division got better. What's your thoughts about this whole division as overall with all these teams?
Best division, in my opinion, so far.
In football, or just like best draft?
Draft-wise.
I agree.
Best division overall, they're definitely out there. They're competing for that spot, too. They're one of 3.
It's just the Giants. It's really just the Giants.
They're one of 3 divisions that are competing for the best division.
It's just the Giants that pulls them down.
The only divisions I can even put there are AFC North and West.
I don't know, because the Raiders bring down the West a lot.
Yeah, they do.
And the Steelers and Browns
But they have
are
the
still
Chiefs.
50-50. Yeah, they got the Chiefs, though, so that's always one. The NFC West has fallen off, unfortunately, but the Cardinals and Seahawks are starting to go up a little bit more, so we could see a resurge with that. But, yeah, no, honestly...
I would say this is either the first or the second best division in football.
Well, the division we're talking about next might be as well, because 3 of their teams made the playoffs last year. And I'm talking about the NFC North. We got the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions to round things out. I know you're shaking your head. A lot of these teams have regressed, and I feel like the one... Oh, God, here we go.
There you go. Drop the pen.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the old studio. Current studio is... Power is currently out, so if we sound a little...
Pittsburgh's... we might not even have... First day of having power back there might be next Wednesday.
Exactly. So some places have power, some places don't. I'm blessed that my house does, so we're back in the old studio at the old podcasting table. And we're hoping to return to the studio by next week. The good news is the interviews that we have over the next couple weeks will be at Point Park's Media Hub, so those aren't going to be too much of a concern. But yeah, no, I'm a little upset we're here, but at least it's not as crowded. We're not in the corner by the desk. At least we have more space this time.
Angela, you're probably listening to this. I'm 1 letter of recommendation away from applying to Point Park.
Ooh, shout out to Lucas for going. Let's give Lucas a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Going to Point Park University. Hopefully.
I keep hitting stuff in here. There's too much stuff around me.
My room is cluttered, man. It's bad.
We need to give like a room tour one day as like a little Tuesday promo.
A room
we
tour?
We should do that, dude. Do that. Write that down on our crazy list of like 7 months worth of promos.
A room tour? The fans are going to get confused. They're going to think it's from an episode of Hoarders if they look at my room.
That's what we got to get to. Because we always talk about how much stuff you have in your room, but no one's actually ever seen your room.
Dude, screw TikTok. Throw it on TLC. Look at my room. Are you kidding me?
I mean, we always talk... Oh, wait. We have to take some stuff down before we...
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's Victor Benjamin on the wall right there.
yeah.
That's from 2017. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Just don't look to the right.
Yeah, don't look to the right.
Maybe take that down and maybe take that down, and then we can show off your room.
What about that up there?
Yeah, probably take that down too. All right, we got 3 things we got to take down.
What about that?
What?
The hat.
No, leave that.
Oh.
That won't get us. That won't get us taken down.
Well, it might because they hate him. So.
Nah, I've seen so much worse than that.
Okay, well, aside from the not PG
We're like looking
stuff,
around your room now, trying to like figure stuff out.
aside from the non-PG items that is on my wall and ceiling fan, let's talk about the Chicago Bears now.
They're probably like, what the hell's on your ceiling?
Only good friends will get that joke.
Oh God.
What a horrible pick. Pick 10, Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. Then you go Luther Burden III, wide receiver from Missouri. Alizé Troplo, offensive tackle from Boston College. Shamar Turner, defensive lineman from Texas A&M. Ruber I practiced this. Hippolyte II, linebacker from Maryland.
Oh no, crap! I practiced this.
I did practice that one. Zoff Frazier, cornerback from UTSA. Luke Newman, offensive tackle from Michigan State. And Kyle Monagai, running back from Rutgers. Listen, I know the Loveland pick was bad because Tyler Warren was still there, but Luther Burden in the second round honestly makes me like this draft a little more. They got solid depth later on. They got another lineman, but I still have to give this a B-. I'm so close to putting it a C because of the Loveland pick, but Luther Burden III, his draft comparison was DJ Moore going into the NFL draft. You want to know who's going to be lining up side by side with now? DJ Moore. Perfect guy to learn from. Perfect guy to get experience from. He is Caleb Williams knowing the football. He's going to be successful. But my goodness, why on God's green earth would you take Loveland over Warren? Outside of the national championship, Warren has everything else above Loveland.
Yeah, I'm giving him a C+.
That's fair.
I don't know if you remember or not, whenever we talked on the first round of the draft night, once they took Loveland over Warren, I said the highest I will give them no matter what happens the rest of the draft is a B. And I'm sticking to that. The highest I could ever give them is a B, but I'm giving them a C+. I just wasn't impressed. I mean, the Luther Burden's good, but outside of that, the rest of the picks, whatever.
Kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Detroit Lions now. 7 picks, round 1. Tyler Williams, defensive lineman from the Ohio State University. Then you go to Tate Radledge, offensive lineman from Georgia. Isaac Tasala, wide receiver from Arkansas. Miles Frazier, almost said linebacker. Offensive lineman from LSU. Ahmad Heinsohn, edge from Boise State. Dan Jackson, safety from Georgia. And then Dominic Lovelett, wide receiver from Georgia.
Miles is a big boy. 6'6", 317 is crazy.
He's going to be competing. Even though he's in the 5th round, he will be competing.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised it took 3 Georgia players, too. Pretty surprised, the Georgia Lions. No, they built it. I wanted to see some more defense early on, in all honesty. I didn't really understand 2 linemen that early because I feel like the Lions already have a pretty solid offensive line. I feel like
I think they filled the holes they needed. I think that they needed a guard.
Yeah, but
I don't know
no
if they really,
linebacker?
I don't know if they needed 2 wide receivers, though. I'm more confused about the 2 wide receivers than 2 offensive guards.
Well, the second one probably won't see the field. But
Well, that's true.
But I get what you're saying. I'm going to give it a B. Not a bad draft, but I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, I'll give it a B. I mean, I think they filled in the holes they needed to. I think that the first 3 to 4 picks were great. The last 3 were just kind of eh. But I was pretty happy with the first 4 picks.
All right, and second to last team, we have the Green Bay Packers. 8 picks. First round, pick 23, Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. Anthony Belton, lineman from North Carolina State. Savion Williams, wide receiver from TCU. Barron Searle, edge from Texas. Colin Oliver, linebacker from Oklahoma State. Warren Brinson, defensive lineman from Georgia. Micah Robinson, my boy, cornerback from Tulane. Sorry, I love Tulane, man.
My ears hurt.
I'm sorry, man.
They need 2 lanes in Ohio State.
Yeah, and then John Williams, offensive tackle from Cincinnati. I feel like it's the first time we said Cincinnati today. Bum ass school. Anyway,
I was pretty happy with this draft. I think they filled pretty much every hole that they really needed to.
I'll give it a B+.
I'll give it an A-.
A-? Okay.
Well, for once, I'm giving it the A-. You're giving it the B+. What the heck happened?
The Golden pick I'm kind of confused on because I know they got Watson.
I like Golden.
I love Golden. That's why I want to give them credit for it. But they got Watson and they got Daubs. It seems like they're not too... and they got Wicks. So, like, I was a little confused. I feel... because my thing is the Packers needed a wide receiver for so long when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback there. Like, every single year we're like, they draft a receiver, draft a receiver, draft a receiver. And now it feels like ever since Rodgers left, that's all they do is draft receivers. It's like, come on. Why couldn't you do it when Rodgers was there?
I like the Golden pick. I feel like he's going to be put into the wide receiver 2 slot.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's other positions needed, but Golden's an amazing player, so they would be
I feel like they need. Like they don't have any big. Like none of the receivers are that great.
Yeah,
They're all okay, but none of them are even like that good or great.
We gotta protect Jordan Love. I feel like they could have got a guard.
Yeah, but that's why they got the offensive tackle second pick.
I don't know. I still give it a B+. It's still a good draft. I'm not gonna take it away. Still a B+.
I'll give it an A+. I think they took pretty much every position that they needed.
All right. Well, the last team we're gonna be talking about today, I'm conveniently wearing them, not for any particular reason. I like to wear every NFL team.
Yeah,
for
it's your
some reason.
favorite NFL team.
It's not my favorite NFL team.
It is your favorite.
It's going to be a quick one, too, because they only drafted 5 players. The Minnesota Vikings, first round, Donovan Jackson. Last time you're going to hear it this episode, Lucas. Lineman from the Ohio State University. I didn't yell this time. I kept it quiet.
The
There,
Ohio State.
there you go.
I got you.
Then round 3,
Your voice just hurts. Don't lie. It wasn't for me.
Okay. Ty Felton, wide receiver from Maryland. Terrion Ingram Dawkins, defensive lineman from Georgia. Kobe King, linebacker from Penn State. And I'm so happy to see this man get drafted in the 6th round at pick number 202. Gavin Bartholomew, tight end from Pittsburgh. 3rd Pitt player drafted.
He looks like a studious student. He looks like he'd be like a lawyer.
Just called Gavin Bartholomew a lawyer.
He has like that lawyer look to him.
He's a good guy. Hey, Bartholomew.
He's definitely like, if you don't have a lawyer, one will be provided to you. He's definitely that kind of player.
Man left me on red on Instagram.
He left you on red.
Yeah, he left me on red.
Well, at least he saw it.
Yeah, thanks, Bartholomew.
Did you try to get him on here?
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
I tried to get Mumfield on too, but at least Mumfield didn't open it. Come on, Bartholomew.
Yeah, what the heck, I mean, his name is Bartholomew.
His last name. His first name's Gap. Well, that's not much better, but...
Yeah, I was about to say. I was kind of unimpressed with this draft. I don't think that they filled the holes that they needed filled.
B- sound fair?
C+.
Ooh. I'm giving a little more credit. I like the lineman with the first pick because you have a rookie in J.J. McCarthy.
I think the first 2 picks are the good ones. The last 3 I don't think were good at all.
That's fair. I mean, they didn't really have much to work with in the draft.
I can't give them higher than a C+. I can't give them a B considering the other teams that I gave a B+ to.
Well, the Vikings wasted so many picks these last couple of years with trades and stuff. So with what they got this year, I'm willing to give them a B- because I know they were working with so little. And they are trying to build around a rookie quarterback, so I get the first 2 picks. But I'll give them a B-. I don't want to be mean. Nice job. Some other players I was surprised that went undrafted. Desmond Watson. You see that big man right there that went to Tampa Bay? The Buccaneers.
Yeah, didn't he make, like, basically nothing?
He's the heaviest player now in the NFL.
Isn't it history?
Yeah.
I told you about him before the draft even started. I sent a couple reels and stuff about him. I was like, this is going to be a massive. Teams are going to be looking at him. Didn't even get drafted.
Yeah, the Buccaneers signed a lot of interesting guys. They signed him. Then they signed the lightest player in NFL history in the receiver. And they drafted Shiloh Sanders, Shador Sanders' brother.
Did you see that just 2 of Tampa Bay's linemen alone are like
Vita Vea.
Are 861 pounds?
Yeah, Desmond Watson and Vita Vea. Holy hell. That's like almost a... What is that even...
The Commanders and Dallas and Giants should have been taking notes there because that's how you stop the tush push.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That guy, the fact that guy can run. Did you see him at the combine? The fact that man is able to actually run and not just speed walk is crazy to me. 461 pounds.
Would that be in your top 5 fears at night if you had that man running towards you?
Dude, if that man's running at me, I'm doing things I can't say on this podcast.
What are you doing? Begging for mercy? Oh, yeah. honestly. In terms of that, though, spiders, snakes, Braun Breaker Spear, Gunther Chop, Desmond Watson in the C gap.
I'm not scared of spiders.
Well, I am.
I'm doing... I gotta think. Gunther Chop,
Oh, yeah.
Braun Breaker Spear, that guy running at me.
Heights.
No, not really.
The Browns. The Cleveland Browns. Really thinking a
People
lot.
that just agree the whole time.
It's number 2 for me, actually. I don't know.
What's another fear of mine? People trying to take over my promos. Those are my top 5 fears.
And that.
Dude.
Anyway, another one that I was pretty surprised that went undrafted was Shiloh Sanders, who I was just talking about. Shador's brother.
I wasn't surprised after Shador found the 6th.
I was just surprised because it was the name. Like, I would think maybe...
The name doesn't mean anything
in the
anymore,
7th.
apparently.
Apparently not. But a lot of interesting players went undrafted. A lot of players that stuck around. I love to see Josh Fryer, offensive tackle from Tennessee, from Ohio State. He's going to be on the Cardinals now, too. Excited to see that. But no, overall, Lucas, when we look at the NFC North now, thoughts, opinions, feelings? I feel like it got worse.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
They really didn't. Well, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the entire NFL draft. Me and Lucas just went through every single player, every single team. We're going to give better insight into the teams overall. If you notice, me and Lucas kind of just stuck to the players that were drafted this time around. We didn't really take the rest of the team into the equation here. We're going to do that as we go into the training camp process and the preseason process. And there's a lot more to discuss about that long term. So we're going to try and stretch it out for the summer. But interesting next couple of weeks coming up. Lucas Carries will be returning. Ask Austin Anything will be returning.
Lots of questions.
We have a lot of questions that were submitted. Thank you to, if you want to shout out. Oh, there goes the pen again.
Twice an episode.
Thank you to the people who submitted questions. We greatly
Thank you
appreciate
to Mybri for sending.
Okay, I didn't know if we wanted to name drop or not.
20, I think it was. No one on here probably knows her.
Shout out to Bree. You're greatly appreciated for those questions. Same with Nate and everybody else from Point Park as well.
The only people on here that know her is Mr. Jack Dean, you, me, Kevin.
Kevin.
I don't know if Nick knows. Nick probably got off after I said Dallas was only a B+. And made fun of him for saying they're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, they're not. And Nick, if you're still listening, they're not going to the Super Bowl. New management is going to be broken in that aspect. No Cowboys anywhere.
No, half of new management's going to be broken. I don't even have them anywhere
Well,
near. I have them going out like first, second round.
Okay, I don't even have them going to the playoffs, but that's okay.
They might make it.
Maybe.
They're always a team that's so, like, they could make it, but not making it far.
Let's see how Dak plays. But the other big
Yeah.
announcement I want to make was we have a lot of interviews these next couple weeks. And what I mean by interviews, I mean probably for the whole month. We have a lot of interviews that's loaded.
Yeah, somebody overbooked.
I did overbook, and you guys enjoyed Naz Fisher. What do you think of Naz Fisher, my man?
I thought it was a great interview.
I thought so, too. W. Naz for coming on. I was a little hard on myself, I'm not going to lie. I know you're looking at me. I'm a little hard on myself because I believe I could have been a better interviewer. Naz was an amazing guest. No, not going to disrespect the man at all. I wish him nothing but the best at Eastern Illinois. But in terms of my interviewing skills, I feel like I could have done better. Lucas was telling me off camera that I need to stop being so hard on myself, that it was a good interview. So thank you for the support, man. But thank you all so much for listening to that interview, too. It did really well in terms of numbers. But I think you guys are going to enjoy this Sunday's interview because let's just say we may or may not have a former NFL player coming on the podcast. First time ever. I'm very excited for it. Not going to name names, but
I'll keep my mouth shut so the interview actually happens.
yeah, because last time we talked, the interview didn't happen. So you don't need to curse our guest.
No.
Well,
That wasn't my fault.
You disrespect every single guest we bring on.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You're over here bashing Robbie and Smokowski.
All right, so tell me one insult I've said to every single interview that we brought on.
Okay, Robbie and Smokowski. Do I need it?
No, start from the beginning.
You called them
Who was our first one?
Devontae Dean.
What did I say bad about him?
Nothing about Devontae Dean.
Next one.
Caden Warner.
What did I say bad about him?
That he never followed you back on Instagram.
I didn't slander him for that, though. I just said, what the heck, man? Where's my follow back?
Okay.
Next one.
Who was after? Bill Hillgrove.
What did I say?
That the restaurant that is overpriced.
That was about the restaurant, not him.
Okay, well, it's Bill
Because
Hillgrove.
you were the one that was talking about going to. I'm like, man, that place is expensive.
We're still going to go.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We've been saying that for like 3 months.
I know.
Next.
Rob King. You disagree with his Steelers take
What did I disagree with?
about Russell Wilson.
I don't even remember that.
Okay.
But I didn't slander him. I said it was a good interview. I said I liked him. Next one.
Kevin Homa.
Okay, we skip that. We skip that.
I'm about to say, do we need to... You just called him before...
Okay, you slander him more than I slander him, though.
Well, it's easy to slander Kevin.
It is. Sorry, Kevin. Not sorry.
He's not listening. But it's okay.
Yeah, no, he's not. He clicked off after like the first 2 seconds.
Sorry, Kev.
Hello, and welcome back. Close. Next.
Jason Earl. I know you didn't say anything bad about Jason Earl.
Next.
So, okay, Jason Earl's our guy. Shout out to Jason.
Next.
Who was after Jason? Was there another one, or was it Robbie? Before we get...
I think it was Robbie.
I don't want to forget our guest. It was Robbie. Robbie.
Yeah, it was Robbie.
Robbie and Smokowski.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
Okay, yeah, you called him a Jagoff to his face. You said it over the phone.
He called me a Jagoff first.
Okay, well, you still called him a Jagoff.
He called me one first.
Okay, whatever.
You told me to keep it respectful, and then the first thing I hear is, "Hey, Lucas, you're a Jagoff."
Well, he's right. You are. I mean, like, look at you. You're a Jagoff.
Look at you.
Robbie wasn't lying.
Look at you.
Okay, what do you mean?
Yeah, the only one who's a Jagoff here is the one that went through a table.
Oh my gosh, here we go again. Naz Fisher.
Didn't say anything bad about him.
Was there somebody else we're missing? I feel like there was another interview.
Do I need to pull up the Spotify?
I feel like you do. I feel like I do apologize.
Can you insert the Jeopardy music now? Can you insert the Jeopardy
Well, I
music?
know. Yes, the do 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 do. Oh, he actually has the Jeopardy music on speed dial.
Hold on. Nas.
Okay.
Matt Palangi for a minute.
Oh, Matt!
How'd you forget Matt?
Matt, you made fun of his Cowboys. Sorry, Matt. I apologize.
You made fun of his Cowboys.
That I knew I was forgetting somebody. There's nobody else I was forgetting. I know I wasn't. You can go all the way back. I'm confident.
Yeah, I don't think I'm
W. Matt Palangi. I'm sorry, Matt. No, Matt was awesome. Shout out to Matt. Matt was our longest interview, second longest behind Kevin.
I said overall I liked Matt, though. I said he seemed like a cool guy.
Matt's a good guy. Really good guy.
Yeah, I only disagree with his Dallas take, which if you're a Dallas fan, you should just expect to be hated by me because you guys are always overconfident.
Yeah.
Every Dallas fan knows think that they're like one of the best teams in the NFL.
Nick Brown has him as a screensaver. I'm surprised the screen hasn't shattered yet.
What's my screensaver?
Better not be the Steelers.
Oh.
Is that
Jari.
What? You got Tristan Jari as your damn
Okay, tell me
dude.
it's not a cool screensaver though.
No, it's Tristan Jari.
It's so cool though.
I have Cooper, my dog. I have Cooper.
Your dog's a.
Okay, well, my dog's at least better than the Cowboys.
You yell to your
Tristan
dog
Jari.
for like 10 seconds being into the house.
There ain't no way. What's your home screen? Is it Tristan Jari too?
Well, I think it just like gets blurred out because it's just like a.
Oh my gosh!
I said it was like a duel.
This guy got Tristan Jari.
Yeah, it's
Really?
cool favored. The
Not even-
background's sick.
Flurry.
Huh?
Flurry.
Flurry's not even on the team anymore.
Do we still have him?
Yeah, we still had him.
Oh my god! So did you have Jari on your screen whenever he was in the minors, or did you have
No.
Bloomquist or Ned? Don't tell me you had Ned. It's
No, I think I had another sports player at some point, but then we don't have him anymore. I don't even remember who it was.
Oh my gosh. Tristan Jari. That I don't know what's worse, the Cowboys or Jari. At least it's Penguins, so I'll give you that.
Hey, Jari does good things at the end of the season.
He did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is going to wrap up today's episode of Two Jagoffs. Now the second longest episode of Two Jagoffs in Two Jagoffs history at
Really?
145. I'm not stretching out another
Oh
second.
no, because wasn't Lucas Cares like an hour 50 something?
Oh, third longest.
Yeah, third longest.
I forgot what Lucas
I
cares.
can press the stop button for once.
Yeah, well, it's not that button. It's this button.
Oh.
So
I forget it was this one because the red dot was like right there.
No, you're good. You can do the stop button.
Let's
So-
go. I feel so special.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Two Jagoffs. Thank you all so much for showing the support on all the social media pages. Don't forget to follow our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter pages. And subscribe or follow us on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Podchaser. Again, this is Lucas Coons. I'm Austin Carnes. Until Sunday for our next interview, we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.